Good. Oh, nice. All right, let us know when to go. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Collegiate iRacing League. Tonight, we're going to bring you round 3 of the College Cup Series for the first time ever from Iowa Speedway. The NASCAR Cup Series taking the show there in real life for the first time this season, so we thought we'd do the same and bring you the Dinner Mints 200 presented by the Familiar Strange live flag to flag from the virtual Iowa Speedway. I'm your host for tonight, Zach Lindler, alongside John Dinkle in the booth, subbing in for Alex Gagnon. And we are here in the Ignition Zone pre-race show where we're going to get you hyped up and excited for tonight's race by taking a look at last week's race from Charlotte Motor Speedway. John, what a phenomenal race that was. I know you described it as chaotic a little bit before the start of the show, but I think that is the perfect word to describe all the action that we saw on track last week.
Yeah, I'll say it again. It was quite a little bit of chaos. We got some different pit strategies, if I remember correctly, and a lot of green flag running, which was really nice to see at such a legendary venue as Charlotte Motor Speedway. That was 200 miles of action, and got a similar race tonight, but a much different track, though. It's a much shorter track, and I am much excited to see how these drivers will shift to a completely different type of driving altogether.
Yeah, this is the first time that we're going short track racing this College Cup Series season. Something the drivers wanted a little bit more of to go to some more short tracks. And Iowa, of course, with it being on the NASCAR calendar for the first time this season, the drivers wanted to go here. So we're going to try it out tonight, see what happens. But this is going to be certainly a unique, interesting race. All of us are looking forward to it. The drivers have their hands full with the cars tonight, but a lot of momentum for some of our drivers coming into this week's race. Our winner, Matthew Morton, the Season 9 champion, the reigning champion, took the win at Charlotte last week. Daniel Nanny from Ball State finished second, and third place went to UNC Charlotte's Clint Halterman, getting on the podium for his home school in his home race. And as a matter of fact, we're going to go ahead and talk to last week's winner himself, Matthew Morton from Ohio State University, the reigning champion. Matthew, good to have you up here in the booth at the start of the show.
Thanks for having me.
So I want to throw it back a little bit to when you first won the title last season. That was 2 seasons in the making. You had a really good run during the summer season, but couldn't quite get the job done. And then you finally brought home the hardware at the end of last season. What does that first title mean for you and Ohio State?
It just kind of instills a confidence in me that I can continuously run up front anywhere I go. Coming in this series, I really didn't know what to expect. I don't do really much league racing on the community. So yeah, joining this league, having this many people race every week in this capacity kind of just put into perspective that I really can go out there and win races and eventually a championship. So winning a championship in a series like this means a lot, just because it just gives you confidence every week to do it over and over again.
Yeah, and with our series structure, having playoffs, getting your first win of the season in round 2, how does that feel, knowing that you're locked in?
It feels pretty good. With the playoff format, winning you're in, winning really early in the season means a lot. You can just relax a lot more compared to a lot of the other guys that are just going to be trying to get every win they can. And that obviously is going to serve maybe a different strategy for me in these coming races. I'm not going to be playing to run up front every race. I'm going to be pulling any trick out of the hat I can just to, maybe scrape with a win that I normally wouldn't do if I was just racing for points and didn't have this spot locked up. So, that extra security just coming into these, the next of the regular season just means a lot, I'm able to just relax more compared to everybody else.
Shifting from last season to this season and tonight's race, we've heard that a lot of drivers are really struggling with the car tonight. Very loose on entry, very loose on exit. Hot, slick, short track first of the season. What are your thoughts as you've been practicing with this setup tonight, and what are your expectations for tonight's race?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't really expect a good one. Unfortunately, hopefully we can actually get a long run, but the set is kind of loose, and if you drive it just a little bit too hard, you're gonna pay the price. And if you slide the tires, it's just gonna be over, and you're just gonna be spinning out in the next corner. But yeah, I mean, the set's kind of fun to drive just because you have to take it kind of easy, and you're gonna be sliding, battling everybody. But expectations aren't very high. But I hope in the next few minutes, I hope I'm wrong.
Expect the best, prepare for the worst, and we'll find out in just a few minutes. Thanks for joining us, Matt, and hopefully we will see you back here in the booth after the race. Best of luck out there.
You guys, go Bucks.
That was Matthew Morton from Ohio State University, the reigning College Cup Series champion, a driver tonight and a one-time winner already this season, last week's winner from Charlotte. And you heard him mention that exactly that, expecting the worst but preparing for the best, as these drivers have their hands full with the car tonight. Mother Nature not really playing nice with it being so hot, and possibly the threat of virtual rain in the form of the session timer ending the set, possibly ending the session early.
Yeah, I think in preparing for the worst or expecting the worst, when I used to race in CL we had a little short track action, and sometimes it'd be a bit of unpredictable. You know, you have the little bumper on the front of your car that you could use a little bit like a weapon. So I think a lot tonight we're going to see drivers trying to look in their mirror and see where the other drivers are on track to not get spun out. The Chrome Horn is vicious at these short tracks, so yeah.
Chrome Horn indeed, and I think we're definitely going to see it being put to use tonight. So if you've bought Chrome stocks, go ahead, and if you haven't bought Chrome stocks, go ahead and invest in that now, because the Chrome Horn is going to be used a lot tonight. But before we get into the race, we're going to shift gears and take a look at our current point standings. Jake Cummings is currently on top of the College Cup Series at the moment. Matthew Morton, after his win last week, still sits second. Zach DeWale third, Daniel Nanny fourth, and Clint Halterman fifth. 5 very strong contenders at the top of the table this week, and I believe all of them are going to be in contention. I think we're going to see all of them in contention for the win this week.
Yeah, for sure. And I think especially because this is such a different circuit than what we've seen, we might see some unfamiliar faces up front than what we've seen in the last couple of rounds, just because it is a different type of track. And I'm all for it to maybe do a bit of an offshoot prediction if we're ready for this.
Ooh, all right, go ahead. You go. It was your idea. You go first.
Fine. I want to say, let's say our Muhammad Ali, actually. 'Cause I think turn him a little bit. He's been running up front, I think, in some sections of the previous races, and I think a track where using the brakes a little bit more, using the steering more than you would at another track, I think might play to his strengths, being our Formula C reigning champion.
Yeah, that's a strong pick indeed. I'm trying to think, who do I want to pick? Ooh. Gosh, there's so many names out there, and I haven't seen the practice charts either. You know what?
Do not look at the practice charts.
I don't even have the session pulled up yet, so I can't look at the practice charts. But
you don't need them.
Let me take a look through our roster here and see who I want to pick. You know what?
Just pick a random number generator.
I'm gonna pick the low-hanging fruit, Matt Morton. He's been strong all season. He's for 2 seasons now. He's got a handle on this car that I really think has a massive advantage over the rest of the field. This is going to be a war of survival. It's going to be a war of attrition, and I think the winner tonight is going to be the one that can control their car the best, keep the temperatures low in their tires, and to be able to finish the race. And I think Matt Morton just has that skill that is going to put him on the edge over the rest of the field. So Matt Morton at Ohio State, that's my pick. We're going to go with that.
Very basic, but I mean, Sure. Fine.
Hey, the numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie.
I'll make them lie. I say 2
Oh,
plus 2
gosh.
equals 5. It'll work.
Oh gosh. Welcome to CIL math, everyone. But I believe we have hit that time, 8:45 Eastern, which means that we're going to wrap up our Ignition Zone pre-race show. We're going to take a quick break here, and then we're going to be right back with some flag-to-flag coverage of tonight's Dinner Mints 200. We'll see y'all in just a moment.
Don't care what people say. They're already out
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Collegiate iRacing League, where tonight we bring you round 3 of the CIL College Cup Series, the Dinner Mints 200, presented by the Familiar Strange, live from the virtual Iowa Speedway. Yes, it's a season of firsts for us in the College Cup Series, and it's the first time the CIL is visiting NASCAR's newest short track on the calendar, Iowa Speedway. We're going short track racing in some hot, slick, and sunny weather, and these 600 horsepower cars will have a wild time sliding around this track for 200 laps tonight. It's been a wild season so far in the College Cup Series, and tonight will certainly be no exception. Jake Cummings got off to a stellar alumni title defense in the opening race at Auto Club, taking the win and the first playoff spot. But that momentum came crashing down at Charlotte last week as a battle between Cummings and Robbie Vrabel Jr. took both drivers out of the race, allowing Matthew Morton to get back to the top step of the College Cup Series, officially kicking off his title defense. But tonight, our drivers will turn their attention to the first short track race of the season. I'm Zach Lindler alongside John Dinkle in the booth tonight, and we'll be here trackside to bring you all the action from tonight's Dinner Mints 200 presented by the Familiar Strange.
Yeah, a much different track than what we've seen previously, a short track in Iowa Speedway. It's super exciting, and I imagine we're going to see a little bit of argy-bargy as these drivers take on something that is so wildly different what we've seen. It's a really small track in comparison in Newton, Iowa. And is this one going to be an interesting one to watch tonight?
Yep, cornfields as far as the eye can see. You can see this unique 0.8 of a mile D-oval short track that we really don't know a lot about. I'll be honest, this is the first time NASCAR is going to this track in the College Cup Series. Don't know a lot about how it's going to race. We heard from some drivers in practice that there's more than a couple grooves to make some passes on, but the hard thing about tonight's race is going to be the setup and the weather. There you see some of our track stats. Moderately banked short track. It's going to be a lot of fun, but this setup is a handful, and combined with some of our some warmer temperatures that we're seeing tonight bearing down on the track surface, this is going to be a handful of a car for our drivers tonight.
Yeah, and imagine it might get a little bit cramped with over 30 drivers taking on only a track that is less than a mile long. Could see traffic take a decent portion of the difficulty into this race, with drivers trying to find their way through slower drivers as they fight for the lead. So definitely going to be interesting to see how the much decreased track space is going to play into how these drivers take on the challenge.
Yeah, tonight's strategy breakdown. Tires are going to last about 55 to 65 laps, so a 2-stop race for our drivers tonight. Fuel can go much longer than that in the event of a couple of cautions out on track, but I think we're going to see drivers using their 4 additional sets of Goodyear rubbers at any given point during the night. You can see some of the statistics about the cars. Actually, some of the cars got updated this past week with the new Toyota Camry model and the new Ford Mustang Dark Horse being released to iRacing this week, of course, reflecting their IRL counterparts that were just released over the offseason. Chevy Camaro is still staying the same, so we might see some funny-looking paint schemes out there if our drivers haven't done the update, but those will be coming in soon. But 2 brand new cars out there on track, still 670 horsepower, a lot of power for these drivers to put down on the track in these very heavy, very wide cars.
Yeah, certainly going to make these paint designers work a little bit of overtime with how quickly they had to turn around some paints if they wanted it to look right. But looking forward to this one tonight. It's going to be so interesting to see how this unfamiliar circuit is going to be tackled by these drivers.
I believe some of the drivers are out on track right now completing their qualifying laps. We're going to get those results to you as quick as they come in and become finalized. But yeah, I think the biggest thing that I'm looking forward to is just learning more about this track. We've never been here in the CIL. This is pretty much, for all intents and purposes, a brand new track to a lot of our drivers. In fact, many of our drivers didn't purchase the racetrack on the service until this past weekend to start practicing for tonight's race. So it's brand new for everybody in town. Something else I noticed was that this pit road is very, very unique. That the entrance to pit road is right off of turn 4. I think I saw a 40-mile-an-hour speed limit, so it's going to be pretty tricky to get onto, but also tricky to get off, as the pit road exit actually wraps all the way around turns 1 and 2, and then the wall ends on the backstretch. So I'm not sure if the pit road speed limit's going to carry all the way through 1 and 2, or if our drivers are going to have to navigate that short little alley coming back up to speed as they finish their service.
No, I have. I remember once I was doing an IndyCar race at this track, and I believe the pit road speed limit ends at the entry of 1. So these drivers are going to be challenged to take 1 and 2, the flat part of 1 and 2, as fast as they can to make their strategy the most optimal. So it's going to be very interesting how the pit's going to be played into this. As I think we have a qualifying lap on the whale. So let's take a look at how these drivers are taking the qualifying session real quick.
Yeah, we're going to ride on board with St. Clair College's Zach DeWale, a big contender here for a couple seasons in the CIL. Ran a part-time schedule last season, so we're going to watch him come out of turn 4. Very, very quick lap here at Iowa. Crosses the start line, hanging the outside as much as you can. Very, very wide entry into turn 1, almost all the way down to the bottom of the track. You can see just how loose that car is. A lot of banking to use actually coming out of turn 2. Very short backstretch. Diving to the bottom of turn 3, being very wary. I think there's a bump right there that you don't want to hit, and then coming back out onto the front stretch to complete a lap. Now we're going to ride on board with him and watch as he completes his second qualifying lap.
Yeah, using about as much tarmac as they can to maximize their speed through these corners and onto the straightaways. Very tidy, it seems. Not much understeer, not much oversteer. I'm surprised that their DeWale is running it along the wall both laps. Not going to cut it short, but that is both of their laps. Do we know where they are positioned on the qualifying ladder?
I think I saw a 24.1 on the lap time. Not sure how good of a lap time that is, but we're going to get you those qualifying results here in just a second. One thing that I did notice is it doesn't look like there's a lot of room to really breathe and to take a short break between the turns. Like the front stretch, you're going to be diving up and down. You're going to be trying to get a really good line into turn 1, and these turns are just so long, it seems like. And then it spits you out onto the back stretch where you get the car pointed straight, and the next thing you know, after you blink a couple times, you're getting the car turned into 3 and 4. So this is going to be a really, really tough race on our drivers tonight, as I believe our qualifying results are ready. And pole position is going to go to Matthew Morton in Ohio State University. As to his inside will be Muhammad Alif, Ball State. Actually, right there is our 2 picks from the start of the show, John. So we did something right there.
We're pulling some cards right here. Maybe it's collusion. Maybe it's just being lucky. But
we leaked the script, unfortunately. Daniel Nanny for Ball State University is going to start on the outside of row 2. Zach DeWale, who we just watched complete his qualifying laps, that was good enough for 4th position on the inside of row 2. Row 3, Charles Wembley from Guilford College starts to the outside of Drew Williams from Clemson University. Row 4, Lucas Moody from Ball State, already 3 Ball State cars inside the top 10. Clint Halterman will start to his inside for UNC Charlotte. And rounding out our top 10, Nick Stockner puts in a great qualifying performance for that second Clemson car in the top 10. And Jason Wallet will represent Drexel University as car number 10.
The 11 going to Edward Sanchez from Baruch College alongside another Ball State machine from Kelton Quick. Then we got Pennsylvania College of Technology's Austin DeLong in his row 7 alongside Sky Shrek from the University of Oklahoma. Then another Drexel machine, Timothy Wilms, inside row 8 alongside Matthew Burton from East Tennessee State University. Then Ricky Paz from Valparaiso alongside Jake Cummings from Wingate University. In row 10, another Ball State machine of Andrew Stagey alongside Michael Sidor from Pennsylvania College of Technology.
Looking towards the back half of the field, Trevor Rizzo for Clemson University is going to start to the outside of Ben Neller from Ball State University in row number 11. Row 12 is going to go to Logan Smith from Auburn University, making his first start in the CIL College Cup Series this season so far. Peyton DuLong from Pennsylvania State University will start to his inside. Brandon Schulenberger from Wingate to the outside of Felix Caporelli from East Carolina University. A couple of North Carolina cars starting right there. Ethan Decatur, the second Valpo car in the field, will start to the outside of Alan Hong from St. Clair College, the rookie. And row 15 goes to Andrew Burrell from Clemson University. And I believe that is going to round out our field for tonight's Dinner Mints 200 as the drivers are taking to the grid. We are about ready to go, John.
Yeah, this is going to be amazing, I imagine. So if your chair has a seat belt, you'll want to buckle it and pull it tight. Mine does not, so I'm going to be having to hold on to my seat, basically.
I'm already standing up for this, man. I bought a seat to cast, and I'm not going to use it tonight. This is going to be a very, very exciting race. But the motors are fired, the drivers are ready to go, and it's going to be 200 laps to settle out who could potentially be the next driver to lock themselves in the College Cup Series playoffs. Right now, Muhammad Alif, Zach DeWale, Daniel Nanny, Charles Wembley, Drew Williams starting inside the top 3 rows with the best chances to do that from the start of the race. I know a lot of drivers were talking about betting the over on cautions. I'm not really sure what the line is for that, but
I think I think it was 10 flags.
Yeah, I think 10,
I think that's a bit generous.
I don't know. We're going to see. I'm expecting something fun, whether it's going to be a chaos fest or it's going to be a lot of green flag. There you see our race analysis presented by Flotic TV, providing tonight's broadcast on the bottom left hand of your screen. 200 laps to settle this race, this event, as you see Matthew Morton and Muhammad Alif behind the pace car. They're going to make the slow crawl through turn 4 as Benny, the pace car driver, is not going to pull down onto pit road. They're going to have one more lap. I couldn't quite see the lights on the pace car still on, but now they're going to go off as these drivers are going to get ready to go. One more lap until we hit the green flag. But yeah, about the race, 200 laps, 175 miles on this 0.875 mile long circuit, 40 mile an hour speed limit, very tricky to get onto. These drivers have 4 additional sets of Goodyear tires to use throughout the race, which I think we will see them use pretty liberally, especially if we have some early race cautions. We do have one green-white checkered attempt if we do have to go to CIL overtime, and the fuel window a heck of a lot longer than the tire window. I think we're going to see drivers come in about every 55 to 65 laps for some fresh tires. So let's try this one more time as you see the field making their way through turns 3 and 4. Muhammad Alif and pole sitter Matthew Morton at the point of the field behind pace car driver Benny. You can see on the right-hand side of your screen, the pace car makes its way down pit road. Barney throws the green, and we are racing here at Iowa. And already some trouble in turn 1. You see the 15 of Michael Sidor involved. A crash in the middle of the pack is going to bring out the caution before these drivers even get up to speed. We're going to try and get a replay to see exactly what happened, but a couple of drivers that we usually talk about every week involved in that one.
Yeah, we don't quite know just yet who was involved in that, but we can see the 15 car was involved there from Michael Sidor, Penn College Technology. Camaro is driving down pit lane real quick to get some repairs. So I think we have a replay of what happened here in turn 1 on lap 1 of this race. So let's take a look.
So you can see Matthew Burton from East Tennessee State drifting the car on the high side, actually saved it, but then came down and tagged the 15 of Sidor. That's the 79 of Ben Neller also involved for Ball State University. So three very strong cars already picking up some damage on the first lap of the race.
an unfortunate way to start the race, but just kind of what happened. Because yeah, because we know this track is just so different, I think you do have to use the brakes a little bit, and it's a bit different than what these drivers are used to with the previous couple tracks being ones with either a little bit of trail braking or none at all. So just a bit of a learning curve to get used to a very different type of driving. Hopefully these drivers will get that adjustments made and start themselves clean.
Interesting that Daniel Nanny was able to get around Muhammad Alif on the start there. Looked like that inside line got a really good launch on the outside as Alif relegated back to third. Zach DeWale making his way up to fifth, getting around Drew Williams on that restart. So I think a lot of drivers will have noticed that the outside lane definitely not as strong here on the restarts of races. And they're going to keep that in the back of their mind for if they're up here at the front of the field trying to challenge for the race lead. And Matthew Burton has been assigned the end of line penalty. He will restart at the tail end of the field as being at fault for that lap 1 incident.
It isn't the end of the world. I think he would have already been quite far back there unless he was in the pits for repairs. But not the end of their race, but it is a bit of a consideration in case he ends up getting another penalty. That's going to be a bit of a curse, I guess.
Yeah, here in the CIL, if you pick up 2 penalties in any one race, you are disqualified. Just as an attempt to keep the racing clean, if you're having a bad night, we don't want you to be a danger to other drivers on the track, so that is strike 1 of 2 for Burton tonight. But there's still a lot of racing left in this event. He's got plenty of time to work his way up through the field and still get the car repaired, back out on track, and contending possibly for a nice finishing position here as the lights on the pace car have come off. The field is gridded up 2 by 2 once again. We're going to go racing one more time. We're going to get this restart underway. Hopefully the drivers will be able to get in more than half a lap, but it is Matthew Morton at the point. Daniel Nanny to his outside for Ball State University. We're going to ride on board with Matt Morton in his dorm room set up on this restart. Morton, Nanny, row 1. Alif, Wembley, row 2. As they hit the Geico restart zone, Barney throws the green and says, "Send it. We're racing again at Iowa." Working on lap 7, now 8 of 200 in tonight's Dinner Mints 200 presented by the Familiar Strange. You could see the focus in Matthew Morton's eyes. I don't think he blinked for that entire duration of about a lap and 3/4 as he dominated that restart, jumped out to a really solid lead, but Daniel Nanny still staying right there in that Ball State car in second place.
Yeah, my prediction of Alif back there fighting against Wembley from Galford College. It made it way up. Whoa, we have another caution. Got a couple cars around on the front straight. Wow, seemed like Alif was doing her own impression, but caution out here on lap number 9 for a front stretch incident. We're not quite sure who caused it just yet, but we will know.
Another PCT car involved in that crash, the 22 of Austin DeLong. I think I saw the 26 of Edward Sanchez from Baruch College involved in that as well. As you see Matt Burton coming back out on track, that ETSU machine repaired and ready to go again. But we're going to take a look at that replay and see exactly what happened Wondering if somebody just lost it coming out of turn 4. And you see the 26 Edward Sanchez. Yeah, oh gosh, just lost the car out of turn 4. Goes head on into the wall. Slides back down, collects the 22, and then, oh goodness, that's the 82. No, that's the excuse me, the 82 machine at Felix Caporal from East Carolina University. Nowhere to go for him.
Unfortunate. Probably the end of their race, I want to say. But it seems like a couple cars are looking to head down pit road, or at least are running on the apron. Yeah, a couple. I believe all those were ones actually involved in our incident. But I'm curious if we can get a replay on that Leaf save that happened as that caution came out at the same time. Transpired there. But yeah, certainly many of these cars getting taken out of the race earlier than they had hoped. And much of their damage probably being terminal, going to be many laps down when they get back out. So really unfortunate end for these drivers' races.
Yeah, the 26 there had a really, really hard hit. You can see pretty much the whole front end of that car completely tore up. He's going to be sitting on pit road for a very, very long time, getting that car fixed up and back out there. But yeah, somebody must have played some Eurobeat in that number 12 car for a Leaf, because that thing was completely sideways when we cut away to go look at the caution. We're going to try and get an onboard from that and see exactly what happened. But yeah, John, almost the commentator's curse there. You got bailed out, buddy.
Sometimes I wish I had like a soundboard over here to be like, we see someone doing that drift and we just play some Eurobeat or something like that, something right from the show, and just have a little bit of fun up here. We do already have some fun, but have a little bit more fun.
And that was a fun ride for him as well. But that goes to show you his skill behind the car, because these about 3,500-pound Cup cars are not easy to save at all.
Yeah, definitely nothing like the Formula C car that he, I want to say dominates in, but yeah. But let's take a look at what exactly happened there on the caution to Muhammad Alif.
Riding on board in the number 12 Ball State machine, you can see coming into turn 1. Oh, he actually had some help there. I think Charles Wembley using the chrome horn early on in this race. But wow, what a save from Alif. All the way down onto the apron, got the car straightened out. Man.
Our predictions are really coming true today. Yours is leading, mine got second and is currently in third. My prediction that the chrome horn was going to get used, and was only lap 10, and we're already seeing it used. So do we want to make any more predictions? Do we want to manifest something tonight?
Let's see. Chili Bowl flip counter.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say at least one. I think we're gonna see a car go upside down tonight. I don't know. I don't want to see it, because that means somebody's race is more likely over than not. But it's gonna be a wild race. Who knows what's gonna happen?
Haven't you seen cars? Yeah, the blue car flipped on their final race, but they still finished.
The blue car, he says.
I don't remember the names. It's been a long time.
Disrespecting the king like that. Unbelievable. Boo this man, chat.
What? I only see it through clips on TikTok. I only see it through clips on TikTok. It's even worse. No. All right, we're going to make fun of you for a long time for that one. You just coming at you. Come on. I don't want to. It's just like 4 seconds, and then I realize I'm watching cars, and I swear.
Yeah, fair enough.
Lights are out. Let's get back to the race.
Let's get back to the race at hand. Lights out on the pace car. Field stacked up 2 by 2 once again. No change in the top 6 that time around, interestingly enough. But it is going to be Matthew Morton to the inside of Daniel Nanny on the restart. Benny makes the hard left on the pit road. Morton hits the gas in the Geico restart zone. Barney says, send it. We're back to racing at Iowa.
Oh, Stockner's
Stockner
around.
just got right hooked into the wall on the front stretch. My goodness. That'll bring out caution number 3 of the evening.
We saw that happening live, and that was just unfortunate coming together. I believe that was Halterman. I don't want to say, but I think that was who they were running around the P8 position. So it just seemed kind of like 2 coming into 1 incident. But of course, we'll probably get a replay coming around here, and we'll see exactly what happened. So yeah, let's take a look at what transpired here to throw out caution number 3.
Oh, Sky Shrek.
Yeah. Oh.
So those two actually hit each other coming off of turn 4. Shrek got loose and then came back down, hit Stockner on the front stretch, and that's what sent Stockner in hard into the front stretch wall.
Yeah,
that was
a third car that went through the grass there that was also involved. So really interesting incident there, but it seems like the 124 of Stockner is doing okay. I think they're going to come down to the pit road to see if there's any damage. We can definitely see some on that 43 Oklahoma machine of Sky Shrek. So it doesn't seem like it's too bad. It just seems like it's some traded paint, some scratched decals, but we'll have to see if they get back out and continue to fight for some points.
Yeah, both drivers able to wheel their way back around the track, both coming down pit road to get their car fixed and serviced. I think actually Shrek might have gotten the worst end of that. It looked like the whole front end of her car was all torn up. Stockner looked relatively okay, but hopefully both cars are able to return out to the track relatively quickly. But I think that was just a quintessential short track incident. 2 drivers fighting for space. They accidentally make contact, and the momentum shift on such a hot track with slick tires and cold tires at that, that's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, and I think some of these drivers were pointing out how these cars are behaving at a track like this. It's been a little bit tricky to handle. I think we've already seen that with just how this has played out so far. So it's just going to be we'll have to see how it changes, but I think a lot of these drivers are finding it difficult to work with the oversteer and how their cars are handling. So it'll just be a challenge for them to adapt to continue running tonight.
And adaptability is a key trait of a great driver in the CIL, and just in general, being able to adapt to changing track conditions, to where you are on track, who you're racing around. If you know, I got to be more careful around this guy, as opposed to, I know that this guy's going to race me harder and cleaner, but being able to change your strategy, change your outlook, change your driving patterns on the fly is key. Is key to success in this series.
Adaptability, it's the name of the game, I imagine, especially a track like this where I think both there's the short track action of pure rubber to the road grip and aerodynamic grip, where you kind of have to be able to both change your line and find that which works for you, to the point where it's a bit interesting once we get a bit more action and a bit more degraded tires, that we can see how these drivers have to change how they drive.
Riding on board more ways than one with R. Muhammad Alif, you can see inside that Ball State Esports arena that all those Ball State drivers race in. You can see the focus and determination in his eyes, the fancy gloves as well, going all out on the sim for R. Muhammad Alif. But we're going to ride on board with him in this restart. You can see him still in 3rd place, Matthew Morton right in front of him on this restart. Daniel Nanny, Ball State teammate, to his outside on the row in front, and I believe he is still going to have Charles Wembley to his outside. So it'll be interesting to see those two race each other after their contact a few laps ago. But as the field's going to get stacked up 2 by 2. The pace car driver is going to lead them down the backstretch. Still just over half a mile before they hit that Geico restart zone, where Matthew Morton is the control car for Ohio State University. He's got Daniel Naney to his outside, Alif, Wembley, DeWale, and Williams behind them in row 3. So hang on, folks. This one might be a fun ride. So we're going to shut up and we're going to let you enjoy this onboard. Green flag. And who shot Zach DeWale out of a cannon? What a rocket of a car, making up 3 positions on that restart in a lap and a half.
I realized we never asked who Christian, the producer's pick, was. Maybe theirs was DeWale, because he's on a very good run here.
He did pick DeWale.
Now it is. Okay, now there's.
Yeah, okay. All right, Christian, we'll go with whatever. But yeah, Zach DeWale, I think recognizing that short-term speed is going to be key to tonight's race. He shot out of a cannon on that restart, made up 3 positions all the way up to P2, and is now challenging for the lead. Tried to look to the inside of Matt Morton there, thought about it as Morton washed up on the front stretch, but couldn't quite get the move to play into his favor. DeWale choosing that outside line, choosing the momentum on the high side to try and attack Morton. He wants that clean air. Very, very important at a track like this with multiple grooves where you can work that outside, which is something that we don't see very typical of a short track. Now here he goes, looking to the inside of Matt Morton, taking away his preferred inside line as they're going to be side by side for the lead coming out of turn 2.
Had a very good 4 on the across the stripes. Yeah, DeWale getting right where he wants to try to challenge for the lead here. As it looks like they make a bit of contact.
Whoa!
Or at least got really close together. They're going to remain side by side as he continue another lap around the track. And I think it's Sanchez's car on the low side there, but we're still green. So we continue on like nothing is of concern. But DeWale does seem to have fallen a bit behind and is going to have to do exactly what he did a couple laps ago. Start making it stay on it. Oh, it's actually going to make a move on the outside on Morton and might take the lead on a move around the outside this time.
These two still side by side after 3 laps of fighting, and Zach DeWale is going to secure the lead for the time being down the backstretch on lap 28 of 200. Still a long race to go for these drivers. Pit stops coming up in about 40 laps from now, as I think we saw some tire smoke from Edward Sanchez trying to get back to pit road. The front end of that car still torn up, as we saw about a lap ago. But Zach DeWale, new leader on lap 29. That's Matt Morton. Daniel Naney retains 3rd place. Muhammad Alif still right behind him, locked in a battle with Drew Williams and Clemson University. And Charles Wembley now in a battle with Clint Halterman, as he lost that 6th position on the restart, but gained it back relatively quickly. Ricky Paz, Kelton Quick, and Jake Cummings, the defending alumni champion, looking to rebound from a poor race last week at Charlotte with a good run in the top 10 for the time being, and he's climbing.
Yep, DeWale is just getting so much time here. There's already over half a second in front of Morton here, and I have to wonder if there's a bit of a divergent strategy here. Maybe Morton is saving their tires a little bit, especially now that he doesn't have as clean air as he was looking at previously. But DeWale is just running push. Williams and Leaf, though, here, it's fighting for 4th here, and Williams might have the upper hand through the corners, but Leaf's going to keep trying to fight on the outside. My pick, I'll stay with it. Unlike Christian, who's changing theirs mid-race. Like, come on now.
Producer Christian catching strays out here. He can't even respond on the show. But this is shaping up to be a good battle for the time being, as Drew Williams tried to press the advantage to Muhammad Alif. Couldn't quite get the move to stick, as Edward Sanchez back out on track. Just taking laps away at this point as he's having some trouble getting that car to turn, but keeps it out of harm's way. Zach DeWale, the leader at the time being, playing the short run strategy for the moment. Matthew Morton behind him, and I think everybody else in the field maybe anticipating a bit of a longer run here. And we know that Matthew Morton has that long run pace. He's consistently been better in long strategy races. He won more than a few races last season by anticipating these long runs and adjusting his strategy accordingly, and almost won a few more. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes as we've now just passed the 8th way mark through this race. The Dinner Mints 200 presented by The Familiar Strange, who are celebrating the release of their self-titled debut album, Familiar Strange, now available for listening on all major streaming platforms.
Traffic again. Another prediction that's proving to be true. Traffic is not playing kind, as a very awkward position for Long in the Penn State machine on the front straight, catching off Morton and Nanny. But it seems like all is good, and there no major damage, and they're going to continue like nothing happened. As I think there's some cars on the low side that are moving slow. I believe that was
Brandon Schulenberger.
I think it was a East Tennessee machine in that first incident, but I'm not sure if we can get the timing tower to move around a little bit. But yeah, it seems like there's already about 20 cars that are a lap down. So Nanny is going to fight for the second place, which, depending on the strategy, might be that of the lead. So we'll see how it plays out.
These drivers have now shifted from go time and restart mentality to, hey, maybe we might be getting a bit of a longer run here. It's time to start saving these tires, managing temperatures, especially with how hot the track is today. We heard Matt Morton talking about it at the top of the show in the Ignition Zone pre-race show, that tire management was going to be the key to success today, that they're going to run out on you so quickly, they're going to overheat on you, that if you have tire management problems, you're going to suffer for it in the middle of the run. But it doesn't look like that's happening for Zach DeWale at the moment, as he has now pulled out to an over 1 second lead over Daniel Nanny of Ball State University, who is currently the leader of this 4-car train. Nanny, Morton, Alif, Williams, and Charles Wembley from Guilford College trying to get in on the action as well. And here comes Clint Halterman right behind him. This is a 6-car train really quickly, and I'm wondering if maybe Nanny is slowing up a little bit, and some of these other drivers trying to get around him at the moment and time a run to be able to secure that second position to try to have a shot at Zach DeWale and the lead.
Yeah, but you were mentioning how the tire degradation is going to be the major limiting factor at a track like this, and the degradation is just so steep. But I feel like that begs the question, how strong is the undercut going to be here? When are drivers going to pit? Are they going to go long? Like I think a lot of this group that we're looking at here might try to do to get some fresh tires, fresh air tires at the end of the race, or the Whale, who seems to be going a bit harder on their tires, who might pit earlier. I feel like the last couple of races, we've seen the strategy favor those who pit slightly earlier than when they normally should for the last lap, for the last pit stop of the race, than those who try to stay out a little bit longer. I think it might be similar today, where those who pit earlier get those fresh tires on, can run a couple fast laps and make up some ground with the clean air. But of course, there's no other way of knowing than waiting for it to happen. As we see, Alif is going to keep fighting on more, and both of our picks are gonna fight for it. So let's focus back on this.
Ooh, and there we see a little chrome horn action. Matt Morton giving the bumper to Daniel Nanny through the corner of through the middle of 3 and 4. Didn't quite shove him out of the way, but definitely gave him a nice little knock, saying, hey, I'm here, I'm faster than you, and I want to get around you. But it looks like Nanny has picked up the pace a little bit, as that lead for Zach DeWale is coming down significantly. Matt Morton sending it to the inside, got a little loose under 30 machine, and I think that we might be seeing that tire deg come into play for Zach DeWale as that lead continues to shrink some lap traffic removing themselves from the equation. I think that's the 19 of Ricky Paz from Valpo University. As now here goes Ohio State trying to go around Dan Nanny, but the caution comes out, and I think pit road is going to be an extremely busy place in about a couple laps.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's no better time to come down pit road if you're feeling like your tires are not being friendly to you. But I think there's also something else that might come into the equation, which is the old adage, I will not say, but times like this bring times like this. We'll leave it vague.
It's one way to phrase it. But this is going to be caution number 4 coming out on lap 44 of 200 in tonight's Dinnermints 200 presented by the Familiar Strange. Not quite sure what brought it out. We're going to try to get a replay. If we can't, we'll just blame it on debris on the track. But Ricky Paz is going to be the lucky dog as you see him lining up at the front of the field. As here we go, everybody in the lead coming down pit road. DeWale, Nanny, Morton, Alif, Williams, Wembley, Halterman, Cummings, Paz, and Neller. Your top 10 coming onto pit road. We're going to see how that changes as these drivers complete the first service stop of the race.
Yep, a lot of these cars all deciding that they need some new rubber underneath them. All coming into their pit stalls. We all see them out late, so we're going to get an easy job to see how they do at the pit stops here. Well, getting up first to take what it seems to be 4 tires, I believe might be. Yep,
everybody's going to take 4 tires. Here we go. Race off of pit road. Zach DeWale is off. It's going to be Nanny right behind him. Matt Morton in 3rd as Charles Wembley gets a really good run. He went from 6th to 4th there as Muhammad Alif lost out on a couple spots. Couldn't quite get the car slowed down fast enough in his pit stall as he lost a few spots on pit road. But Zach DeWale is going to make it work, and what a strategy call from that St. Clair 519 team.
I feel like this is a kind of treacherous pit road for those of you who are very late in the pit road because it's just so far down and it's curved. So trying to slow down and trigger a locked up tire and really make it tricky to fall in. Either you overcompensate or you lock up and either go over or under. And maybe I'm just coping, but it's a bit of a tricky stop to make. So. That's my excuse for at least I'll make on this behalf.
Yeah, it's similar to Martinsville and Phoenix, that curved pit road, where if you're on a straight pit road, you can kind of lock eyes on where your pit board is. So you can say, all right, I know where my pit box is. I know exactly where my markers are to be able to get there because it's a straight pit road. A curved pit road presents a very unique challenge in that you're rounding a blind corner and you have no idea where your pit box is until you see your pit board. And by the time you see that, it's pretty much already too late to brake. So Alif really didn't do anything wrong. It was just he played it really conservatively, was able to make his pit stall, didn't have any sort of mistake getting out or overshooting his pit box, but he played it safe, but unfortunately got punished for it. So all these drivers are really having to rely on the iRacing spotter, which will give you a countdown, the 2015 10 5 4 3 2 1 box. That's going to be really, really important, as I think all of those drivers might have used that first pit stop to gauge kind of where their box is relative to others. So we're going to take a look at what brought out our 4th caution of the night. Producers Christian and Keith finally locked down what brought out that seemingly ghost caution, but we're going to take a look at the incident that brought out this caution in just a couple of moments. Jason Wallet and Andrew Stagey and Wallet goes sideways, actually corrects the car, overcorrects it, does the right thing, locks it down, holds the brakes, and a car dead on track will bring out the caution. So a lot of spots lost for Drexel University there and Wallet, but fortunately he was able to keep the car in one piece with pretty much no damage.
Yeah, really smart move from Wallet there to keep it controlled up top, being predictable to prevent any collateral damage to their machine. And gonna continue on. Seems like a couple of these drivers have not pitted, or at least we have one up front in the St. Clair car. So we're gonna see if they sink like a stone with those old tires, or are gonna climb back up, or not climb back up.
That is
stay
the
up.
it's the number 11 machine of Alan Hong from St. Clair College. Got a teammate Zach DeWale to his outside as Benny makes the hard left onto pit road. Hong waits as late as possible to get on the restart. Stacks up the field, and we're going to go back to green flag racing as look at the difference on those tires. He is already sinking through the field. 3 wide behind him between a few drivers. 4 wide almost as Jake Cummings backs up, and Hong gets touched. He might have gotten touched, but he's going to go into the wall. Damage to the right front tire as they are going to go around the corner, and a couple of cars around up in front of them. That's Charles Wembley sideways for Guilford College. Caution is out.
That was a rough restart for Hong there. Just got a bit loose on the exit of 2 and made contact with the wall, but I didn't quite see what happened to Wembley here. I think my feed got a little static, so let our observers take a second to find what transpired there, but that was a lot. So let's take a look here for this incident on lap number 50. Here we're looking at
So there's
Charles Wembley on the inside of the 100 Wingate machine, and they just synchronized spin, but I think that oh no, I was wrong. That is some damage.
Jake Cummings almost had that car saved, and then I think that was a Ball State car with just nowhere to go getting collected in that incident. Not quite sure who that was, but we're going to see who tumbled down the timing order and see who was caught up in that crash. But yeah, just another quintessential short track incident. 2 drivers fighting for position side by side. One of them goes a little shallow, one of them goes a little wide, and they both wind up merging together, and then chaos ensues. Because I think that might have been, I think that was the 13 of Lucas Moody. No, it was not involved in that crash. Who was that?
Maybe it was Stage. We're trying to find out, but I feel like it was destined to happen just based on how we had one car up front there who is on those old tires and everyone else in the fresh ones who is just going to concertina right as green flag flew, and just an unfortunate event that happened for Hong there and for Wembley, but I think it was a bit of an unfortunate kind of state to even be in with the kind of different strategy of the front row that caused that to happen, because it was just completely stacked into turn 1 and 2.
Once bitten, twice shy for Alan Hong. That was a mistake, I think, that he'll never forget, and he will keep that in the back of his mind for the rest of his College Cup Series career. But how about this car right here? Clint Halterman, all the way up to 4th. He was, I believe, either 7th or 8th at the start of the most recent pit cycle, and he has since made his way up into the top 5. So a good little stint for that Niner Esport, or that Charlotte 49ers machine, making his way into the top 5 for the first time tonight. It was a 79 of Ben Neller that made contact with the 100 of Halterman, and you can see the damage on the front end of that car. Pretty pretty nice by iRacing, considering how hard that hit was to leave the front bumper on that car.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be bumper removal, not a slight denting. So I think I got off very lucky to be able to continue going on as undamaged as their car appears. But looking back to Clint Hartzman, but yeah, I feel like they were. I don't think we mentioned them earlier, so already had made their way past some of our other drivers that seem to be favorites, like Nanny and Alif, and I think they might be in a pretty comfortable position. I believe they finished P3 last week, so definitely might have some good momentum, both not just finishing good in the previous week, but making some good waves as they climb up the grid. So definitely have to keep an eye on Halterman. Maybe I'll change my prediction.
No, 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 no.
Ah,
Don't you do that. Don't you do that.
yeah.
We're better than Christian. He's in here. He's in the booth here yelling at us behind the scenes. It's okay, Christian. We still love you. But we're gonna be side by side once again as the react behind the pace car coming off caution number 5 of tonight's event. Zach DeWale retains the lead, but he's got a hungry Matt Morton to his outside, and probably an even hungrier Drew Williams and Clint Halterman in row number 2 to fend off, as Benny, the pace car driver, is going to make the hard left onto pit road. Zach DeWale control car approaches the Geico restart zone. He's going to hit the gas. Barney says send it, and we are back to racing at Iowa. Good, clean first couple of laps in this stint for our leader, Zach DeWale, able to retain the lead, but Matt Morton still hot on his tail, just 0.2 of a second off of that. Drew Williams retains the 3rd position. Daniel Nanny works his way up into 4th, getting around Clint Halterman on the restart. Muhammad Alif in 6th. Ricky Paz up to 7th place. The first time we've talked about him tonight, Lucas Moody for Ball State. Kelton, actually, the rest of the top 10 are all Ball State drivers. Lucas Moody, Kelton Quick, Andrew Stagey. It is a rout for Ball State right now with, I believe, yeah, they've got half the top 10 right now locked out.
How's that for a Royal Flush? They invested a lot with that like esports center they got there that we saw briefly when we were running Ford Leafs Ball State machine. It seems like they have a very nice facility, and I believe all of them want to race there. I am very much assuming that, but we see Muhammad Alif there, so
Going to take a look at a couple of good battles throughout the field here. This is Nick Stockner in the 124 Clemson machine, under fire from the number 82 car. If I remember correctly, that is Felix Caporale from East Carolina University. Both of these cars involved in an incident earlier on in the race, able to get down pit road. The car is fixed and back out. So good to see both of these drivers back out on track. The veteran alumni, Nick Stockner, able to put some distance between himself and the rookie Felix Caporale. Good to see him joining the CIL. Now Nick Stockner going to work, trying to crack the top 10 possibly. As he's going to go around the 88 of Andrew Stagey. And he's going to, as Stockner is going to assume the 10th position and try to work on the next Ball State car, Kelton Quick.
Paz was sinking like a stone over there. But so right here, Andrew Stagey, I believe we have the camera on here from Ball State University. I think I mentioned that earlier of their esports lounge. We can see another sim rig in the background. I'm not sure if it's being used, but looking forward to Stockner underneath Jason Willott from Drexel, but we can't quite see it. But excuse me, that was Kelton Quick. But yeah, Stockner is making some very powerful moves right here as we look up. He's making his way up the timing tower, making the most of. I don't know if they got the fresh tires, but they must have, because they are moving.
Well, I think it's because some of these drivers on their way up to the front of the field have decided that they're going to opt in for the short run pace. They're going to do exactly what Zach DeWale did last time around. Try to work their way up to the front of the field as quickly as they can. And by the time their tires burn out, really hope for a caution to come out.
Yeah, certainly. But we're riding on board with Andrew Stagey right here to see what it is really like to drive around Iowa Speedway in a NASCAR Cup car. riding behind one of their teammates. Let's see.
One of these days, I'm going to make the trip up to Muncie, Indiana, and check out that Ball State Esports Arena, because I've seen some pictures of it, of all their drivers together. They're really nice racing rigs they have. And I want to go try one out for myself. Get the inside scoop, you know.
Can we try to get you like a nice microphone and a nice suit and try to actually do like an interview with them, talk to them, see what it's really, see what their real inspirations are?
Yeah, hey, if you guys want to fly me up there so I can be a pit reporter, I think that'd be a lot of fun. I can go explore the dungeon. Although that's some CIL lore for another day. Zach DeWale still retaining the lead on lap 67, officially a third of the way through tonight's event. Matthew Morton right behind him by about 3/10, locked in a battle with Drew Williams, Dan Nanny, Clint Halterman, R. Muhammad Alif, Jason Wallet, Lucas Moody, Nick Stockner, Andrew Stagey rounding out the top 10 for the time being. Only about 16, 17 cars, or excuse me, 19 cars on the lead lap at the moment. Right now, the lucky dog would go to Charles Wembley from Guilford College, involved in an incident just a few laps ago. He is the first one lap down, as he is hoping for a caution to try and work his way back onto the lead lap to potentially have a shot to get up back towards the front of the field and challenge for the win.
We have a good battle cooking up here between Morton and Williams fighting for that second position, as it seems like the pace between these cars has somewhat equalized. I don't know if that's tires or just that they all want to run the same way, but they're seem to be about equal on pace, and with a little bit of a give and take. I think we saw a car spun around on the back straight there and some tire smokes. Well, it'd be interesting to see if that is if anything does transpire, but I believe we're still green, so we're going to continue like nothing happened.
Yep, we stay green for the time being.
Yep, just good. Yeah, a bit more room between Williams and Morton right here. I believe Nanny is coming in to get their own piece of the pie, slowly but surely. And I just look how diverse these lines are, with Williams running on like the third groove while Morton is doing the racing line outside to the apex to the outside. So very divergent thinking on how you want to run this line.
Now here's Drew Williams looking to the inside of Matt. As we do have a replay, we're going to get to that in just a couple of minutes, but we're going to keep our eyes on this battle for the lead. Maybe producer Christian, if we could go side by side, that would be great to see. That incident that happened on the backstretch a couple laps ago, as Matt Morton going to put the hammer down just a little bit and put some distance between him and Williams. Looking at the bottom of the screen, you're going to watch Ricky Paz just lose it on corner exit. And these hot tires coming back to bite him as he's going to slide down the track and collect, I believe that is Logan Smith from Auburn University. The track cleared. Both cars got off the racing line, so we stayed green.
I believe that was Decatur from Valparaiso, not Paz, but...
Sorry.
Yeah, unfortunate incident there, but we do stay green, so all is well that ends well for us at least. But we got a bit of split up here with Williams falling behind a little bit, Nanny taking their third position, and Morton is now fighting for the lead with Zachary DeWale up front from St. Clair College. So we can take a look up there. It's about 10th separating the cars right now, while Morton looks down the inside in 1 and 2. Side by side going down the back straight. I believe Morton might have the advantage coming onto the front straight. Start lap number 76.
Yes, he does. New leader Matt Morton, but only across the stripe as Zach DeWale fights back around the outside. Can't quite get the move to stick into turn 2 as the two are going to make contact on exit, and that relegates Matt Morton back down to second. And oh, I bet he did not like that move. This battle's about to heat up really quickly here as Zach DeWale will once again retain the lead and lead that lap.
It's close. Probably going to put a piece of paper between them right there. And still running these different lines. Morton trying to get the fresh air they want. DeWale running their really wide line through pretty much the whole circuit. But don't know if this is
Matt Morton trying to make that inside line work, but by doing so, he's going to be using up his tires just a little bit more than DeWale. DeWale's got the advantage on the outside with the momentum, and he's using that to his advantage to keep Matt Morton behind him. As you saw Alan Hong coming out of pit road, he finally decided to come down pit road and get some new tires. So he's going to be putting down some pretty quick laps here in just a couple moments, maybe with the intent to unlap himself. But right now, the top five: DeWale, Morton, Nanny, Williams, and Alif. Alif currently kind of in no man's land right now, relatively, is he's about 5/10 behind Drew Williams, but he's going to catch up really quickly, as I think Matt Morton might have gotten a piece of the wall down the backstretch. Both of these cars really driving it into the corner and hoping they stick. They're completely out of the groove through 3 and 4, and that has now let Nanny and Ball State into the mix, and possibly Williams as well in just a couple laps.
Watch out, we got a little bit of traffic here that might throw a wrench into Wells' defensive plans. Gonna have to go low to make their way around. I believe that's the East Carolina University.
Chaparral.
Seems like it's all well and good. Morton's now fighting on the inside as they go into one, probably using that traffic to their advantage, and I believe has cleared the well on his outside, and Morton is going to take the lead back from DeWale.
Yeah, Matt Morton said that's enough of that. Went ahead and went around Zach DeWale, and that has now relegated DeWale down to second and fighting with Nanny, who wants to take away that spot. But if you're DeWale, now that you're in dirty air, you got to be concerned how much of your pace came from tires and how much of your pace came from dirty air. We're going to find that on just a couple laps, maybe not, as caution number 6 of the evening comes out on lap 82, as we're going to see what happened to bring out the most recent caution.
Unsure as of currently what caused this yellow.
We are checking. Something happened to Ricky Paz here?
That's the current theory for what caused this incident. Do you see some damage on their Valparaiso Camaro? So definitely had something going on at some point during this race. But currently are searching for a replay of what transpired to give us the 6th caution of the night. So bear with us for just a second. Let's take a look here to what happened to the 19 Valparaiso Camaro of Ricky Paz to give us caution number 6 of the night. Oh, that's a massive oversteer moment through turn 3, but thankfully doesn't collect anybody and keeps moving forward. But that was a massive snap for Ricky Paz. Just seemed to get a bit of sliding into 3 as they trailed the brakes and overcorrected as they went around, and the sliding just caught up with them, and they unfortunately the wall, as we have a lot of the leaders in pit road, and Morton is going to win the race off pit road. About the same as we've expected from the leaders. I don't think there was any change of position for about the top 6, I want to say.
Yeah, I think we figured that we'd see everybody down pit road there, especially the leaders. Got about 30, 35 laps on that set of tires. So that's a pretty significant loss of pace for these drivers. As yeah, you said it yourself, Matt Morton going to retain win the lead back with the race off of pit road. Zach DeWale down to second. Daniel Nanny in third, Drew Williams fourth, Muhammad Alif rounding out the top 5 for this restart. He's going to have Clint Halterman to his outside when they take the green flag again.
I do think this puts a bit of an interesting strategic position, because we are getting close to about halfway through the race, and I believe, was it fuel prediction to be about 95 to 105 laps in our pre-race strategy prediction?
So there will be at least one more pit stop from now till the end of the race. The drivers, yeah, they still can't make it on fuel. I think if we have a few more cautions, though, they might be able to stretch it, but I would be more concerned about the tires than I am the fuel.
Yeah, certainly. As we look at our Flowtech TV race analysis, about 4 tire sets for these drivers. And with how many cautions we've seen, I think we've seen them pit twice. So potentially they could use all of those tire sets tonight. And I think it could make all the difference if one of these drivers has a tire set used much later than the rest. Move for 2 laps until we get back onto the green flag status that we were experiencing for a quite long time for this 200 lap race. So definitely hope we get some more of that action, because that was quite good battles that we were seeing up front.
So that was what, caution number 6 or 7? I can't
I
remember.
believe that was number 6.
Number 6, gotcha. So we still haven't hit our 10 that the drivers were expecting, but still less than halfway through the race, we are on par for 12 or 13 cautions. Although I gotta say, the green flag action that we've had this race has been phenomenal.
Yeah, definitely. As we get the cars side by side, 1 lap to go until we get back onto green. Morton on the low side, taking the pole currently. Is it pole for a restart?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
The control car, I guess that's what we'll call it.
There we go.
But yeah, Morton will be the control car for this restart, and I think the past couple of restarts where Morton was in control, he stays in the lead because his restarts are, I'm going to say, second to none. So definitely anticipate that this inside line is going to get a really good start as we get back under green.
Pace car makes the hard left on the pit road. Matt Morton, the control car, approaching the Geico restart zone. He floors it. Barney says send it, and we are back to racing here at Iowa.
Very good restart for Matthew Morton up front there. Well, we have DeWell and Williams fighting side by side for the second place on the podium. Currently side by side as they enter turn number 3, trying to give them no margin. Get as many tenths of a second as they can to try to take this position away. For the back, we have Nanny from Ball State University ahead of their teammate Alu from Ball State University, as they were at the restart. So not much to say there, but very clean restart up front here.
Matthew Morton still has the lead. The battle for the lead. 3 cars involved. Morton, DeWale, and Williams for the time being, as it's another 0.8 of a second back to Dan Nanny, who is currently occupied with Muhammad Alif, Jason Wallet, and Clint Halterman all together in a train, with Jake Cummings bringing up the caboose in that little train running behind them. But now DeWale looking to the outside of Matt Morton, still to thank for his strategy at the very beginning of this race, where he sent it on those new tires, burned them out, and then got caught by a really well-timed caution to keep him up at the front of the field. But he has shown all night that he's had the speed to control this race. He's just got 1 car standing between him and the win, and that is Matt Morton, who takes the lead, or will take the lead back after DeWale had a look to the outside through turns 1 and 2. And Drew Williams also involved in the mix right now, looking to lead his first lap of the event tonight.
Yep, these 3 cars all could fit under a blanket right here. especially these two, the
Oh,
whale Morton. That was a very interesting moment. Seemed like they almost collided, but yeah, it seems like these drivers are almost like trying to rob each other of the air. Like Morton is intentionally running the lines that the whale wants to or wants to run, because we've seen earlier where the whale would run those high lines, while Morton took the more stereotypical outside, inside, outside. But it seems like they're kind of changing it up, trying to see what works, see what the other drivers like, and how they feel about it, to see if there is some more speed to be found that they aren't aware of. So definitely spreading out here to try out some different lines, and all for that.
well, this is going to sound really rudimentary, but in racing, defending is all about ensuring that the driver behind you has to go around you. You don't want to give them the position. You don't want to make sure that you don't want to make a mistake that's going to basically give them a freebie. You want to force the driver behind to press the issue, to force them to drive around you. Because if you're Matt Morton right now, you pretty much have free reign of where you want to go on track. You don't have to worry about, dirty air. You don't have to worry about having your line taken away. But if you're Zach DeWail or you're Drew Williams, hand is being forced at the moment. So you can see both of them electing the high line because Matt Morton is running that low line. Now, Morton has the advantage on the low side because it's the shortest way around the track. But the advantage bar swings a little bit to Zach DeWail and Drew Williams' favor because the faster way around the track is that higher line. They're able to keep their speed up. They've got better momentum down these short straightaways, which will give them a couple thousandths of a second as the caution comes out right in front of the leaders. Some smoke. I think that might have been whoever that PCT car is right there. Might have been Austin. It's either Austin DeLong or Michael Sidor.
We had some green flag action there, but going to be under the caution again, almost right at the middle point of the race. I heard confirmation from our observer that it was Austin DeLong who had caused, or at least was involved with this caution here. It was a bit of an awkward position, as you noted, that was right in front of the leaders. So definitely not the place you want to be, spun out in the middle of the track with the leaders, not even just the leaders, but leaders fighting for the lead, bearing down on you at a rapid pace. But we're halfway through this race, and I guess caution number 7 is a perfect way to split it. So
and we are now officially halfway.
100s.
Yeah, we are now officially halfway through this event, the Dinnermits 200, presented by the Familiar Strange, celebrating the release of their self-titled debut album, Familiar Strange, now available for listening on all major streaming platforms.
Under caution here due to an incident from Austin DeLong. We'll get the replay for this incident in just a minute. Any thoughts on what the strategy might come through for the rest of this race, Zach, and where these drivers might want to make the pit stops to put themselves in the best place to win?
So the lead strategy right now, all the cars that are on the lead strategy have utilized 2 of their 4 sets of tires. So you still have 2 potential pit stops until the end of the race. I think not coming down pit road here was a smart plan because you only put about 7, 8, 9, 10 laps on that set of tires. So I think it's probably going to be lap 125, 130 before I even consider coming down pit road again. But we're going to take a look at the incident that brought out the most recent caution. We think it was the 22 of Austin DeLong going for a ride on the front stretch, but we're going to confirm before we say anything. And yes, it was. You see the 22 just loses it on entry, catches the apron, and that sends the car around. He keeps his foot in it and tries to get the car slung back around. And there he'll finally do it and get the car rolling again. And that brought out caution number, I believe, 8 of the evening so far.
was a very interesting. I actually want to commend that. I think it was very smart to keep their foot in the throttle, like it was floored, to try to center the car to make it take up less space on the track along the racing line, to make sure that they didn't get any collateral damage off of that incident. So really well held, really well controlled from the long there to make sure that that incident was only a single car spin and not a multi-car pileup. So good job there. Let's get back to racing in just a couple minutes time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And usually we tell drivers whenever they are involved in an incident like that to just always hold the brakes, become predictable. But yeah, you said it right. I think staying on the throttle was the correct option there to try to keep the car towards the bottom of the racetrack, pointed towards the apron, and then coming back on track to get the car parallel to the racing line to try to become as small of a target as possible, especially when you're right or you're literally half a corner in front of the leaders like that, at risk of going a lap down, to be able to keep them from hitting you. But
Lights
we're
are
gonna,
out. Yeah, the
yep,
lights are out.
we're sharing
We're
brain cells now. This isn't good. Well, the lights are out on the pace car, as you said. The field's racked up 2 by 2. Matt Morton got the lead that time, so he is the control car for the upcoming restart. Zach DeWale to his outside right, and Daniel Nanny. We are going to ride on board with Lucas Moody, who you see back there in row 5 in the 10th position. He is to the outside of, I believe that is that Jake? No. Not sure who he's outside of, but another one of those Ball State drivers in that really nice esports complex. As you see, he's got a great view out of the front window of Matt Morton hitting the gas in the restart zone. Barney says send it, and we are back to racing at Iowa. And a relatively tame first lap as the field's going to go completely single file inside the top 10 at the start of that lap. I think these drivers are more concerned with keeping the car underneath them on cold tires than they are racing each other. They're going to wait for these tires to warm up, and then we're going to see the battle start happening. Like right up there, I believe that is 6th position. There's Jason Wallet looking underneath Clint Halterman as a car way loose all the way down on the apron. I think that was Drew Williams who got really loose off of turn 4. He's going to lose about 2 or 3 positions, but fall right back in line. So disaster mitigation for the 123 Clemson machine. Well done.
Yeah, that was a really good save for that 123. I wonder if we can get a view on that, because they seem to have crossed the whole track, and if it was they were like mid-battle side by side, that could have been a massive incident similar to the likes of which we've seen earlier in this race, which would not be how they want to start off this effective second half of the race. So do have DeWale and Morton picking the exact same lines at 3 and 4 again, as they fight for this first position that as they have fought for a very decent chunk of this race. They're inseparable for this lead. Well, I got 2 Ball State cars following them, and I imagine they're kind of just taking notes here, just seeing where they are and where they might want to be to make a move. Where do you want to make a move? Where do you think they're the weakest, or if they're going to just burn their tires up and they'll save it and wait for a better day?
Well, you make the move by going where the guy in front of you is not. And for Zach DeWale, that's going to be to the inside of Matt Moore, going to get alongside him. As you see on the middle of your screen right now, I believe that's Clint Halterman being pestered by Jason Wallet at the moment. Those two have been side by side for more than a few laps as Williams loose once again. That car is not playing nice out of turn 4, as that's going to relegate him almost completely out of the top 10. In fact, down to the 8th position, locked in a battle to try and hold on to that spot with Andrew Stagey. We're going to ride on board. As you see, yeah, just put the power down a little too hard, a little mistake from Williams, and that cost him big time.
Yeah, it seemed like a bit of deja vu there. It seemed like it was almost a very, uh, it seemed like it was the same incident, same little bit of oversteer that caught out Williams there and made him lose another couple spots and should just falling away from the lead. Now fighting against Stagey here for P8. So very unfortunate turn of events for Williams, and we'll see if he can climb back to try to fight against the leaders again later.
And mistakes like that happen. Like you're not going to be absolutely perfect over the course of the run, but it's all about how you recover from that mistake. You know, yeah, you spun twice coming out of turn 4. The car got really sideways. You lost a ton of positions, but you're still in the race. You are by no means out of this race yet. In fact, up in 8th, actually just overtook Jake Cummings for that 7th position. So Williams already on his way back up through the field. As these two at the front of the field, Morton and DeWale still being thorns in each other's side. That battle has not, I feel like that battle has been going on since about lap 20.
There's another incident on the track again. Sanchez.
Oh gosh.
And another oversteer moment.
Oof.
Oh wow. Similar to what we've seen before, you just get the back end a little bit loose and a tiny overcorrection that just makes a wreck of everything. So I believe that might be Sanchez's race over, but we have side-by-side action. Nanny making their way up into the lead here underneath Morton. We have a Ball State car running up front.
A little slip up from Zach DeWale relegated him to the battle to stay inside the top 3, as now Daniel Nanny is going to get a taste of the lead for the first time this race. Ball State in the lead, lap number 1 led for that number 30 Ball State car. Matt Morton now relegated back to 2nd and is still trying to battle for the lead at the moment, but it's Zach DeWale coming out on top over Muhammad Alif in that battle for the 3rd position, but this is still not over yet. In fact, this has now turned into pretty much a 2-by-2 battle for the lead. Daniel Nanny still out in front of Matt Morton. He's going to try and see how long he can stay out there, because we still have at least one more pit stop to make by the time this race is all said and done.
Yeah, these top 4 cars here are just in a class of their own. It feels just super comfortable. Not really having any sort of moments of oversteer or contact or anything. It's just very comfortable and able to run their own lines without any concern for the others around them when it comes to like dirty air or anything. Not in terms of like we're gonna run you over, but it's a very tight battle that we have here for a lot of these top 4. I am excited to see how this continues to unfold. As we can see, Nanny has already got half a second doing the DeWale strategy we saw earlier, where you just gotta get a bit of a gap going and only be concerned about yourself.
And he's probably thinking to himself, yes, I finally have the lead. Now it's time to see what this car really can do now that I've got clean air. As now the battle for 2nd heating up. Matt Morton just ahead of Zach DeWale and Muhammad Alif, who are side by side for 3rd across the stripe. Matt Morton now with 2 lines to defend. He's going to go and block the bottom line. Feels like there's a bigger run from Muhammad Alif. Going to wash out back to the top, try to block the run coming from the high side from Zach DeWale. Rinse and repeat for turns 3 and 4. We're going to keep an eye on this battle as it shapes up, as we now have 80 laps to go at the line. Loose for Morton out of turn 4. He is pushing that car to the limit, trying to defend his position against these 2 drivers.
Taking the exact line that they need to rob. Well, I think there's a lead from getting that clean air line through 1 and 2 there, but Alif's making the move down the low side while we got a Valparaiso car being some traffic on this half of the track. But they're going to make their way around to the front straight, and they're going to be able to pass that car. I believe that was Decatur. They still fight side by side. Alif on the low side as DeWale gets a massive oversteer moment in 1. And they save it, but it's going to be falling so far back. It's already 1.3 seconds back from Nanny, and it's only growing now up to 1.5. So these tires are definitely feeling the degradation, and I feel like it's not even been that long since they've gotten the new tires.
It's a Midwest battle right now. Daniel Nanny from Ball State and Muhammad Ali from Muncie, Indiana. Matthew Morton from Columbus, Ohio, and Zach DeWale from Windsor, Canada, in Ontario, in the battle right now. So that actually is going to come to an end, as that is the 82 machine of Caporale, Felix Caporale, that has gone around in turn 4, and that is going to bring out caution number 10 of the evening. And I think pit road's about to be really busy once again.
Yeah, definitely. We saw both Williams and DeWale having massive oversteer moments that definitely are going to put some thought in their mind that they do not want to be on these tires any longer. And definitely what the rest of those top cars, seeing that they had those oversteer moments, going to be like, maybe we should be ahead of the degradation to prevent us from having an incident like those. But we can take a look at what caused this caution for Felix Caporal here real quick. Just running through turns number 4, and I believe that is very similar to what we saw with DeLong just a couple laps ago, where they run a little bit on the apron and just get a little bit of oversteer, and it runs around on them. But intelligently, it's going to keep their position, be predictable, and it's not going to get collected, but it's going to lose a lot of track position and fall a lap down here. So a fortunate position to be in for Caporale here, but at least they're still running. So.
And like Austin DeLong, kept that car completely out of the wall, kept that car clean, so he's going to be able to continue with no damage to that machine. But yeah, I was going to say, it almost looked like he just glanced that apron in the middle of 3 and 4, or coming out of the exit of 3 and 4, and that's what sent the car completely around. So there's 2 now for a potential pattern that these drivers are going to recognize, as I think we're going to try to take a look at pit road and see who's come down. It doesn't look like the drivers are pitting just yet. So interesting call to stay out for some of these drivers. That's an interesting call. I would have come down personally. You still got 2 sets of tires to use in this race. So most of our leaders electing to stay out.
Are you sure pit road's open? I believe that there are some cars between the pace car and the leaders that have to go around first, or I have not done a lot of Cup Series, so I think I'm a little rusty on my pit rules, but
no, because those cars up in front of the leaders will get the wave around as the leaders come to pit road, and then they'll be able to make their service since they're scored a lap down.
Got it. Well, we'll see what happens here, but yeah, definitely is a bit of a weird position that we saw 2 drivers have very notable oversteer moments as proof that their tires are falling away, and none of them want to get off of those tires. Maybe then they believe they feel comfortable. Maybe they feel that Williams and DeWale were harsher on their tires than I think we've seen them be.
Well,
at least with DeWale, I think.
Well, I did see red lights on at the entrance to pit road, so yeah, pit road was closed that time by. That's interesting.
Well, maybe we're just yapping.
Hey, maybe so. Under caution for the 10th time tonight for our CIL College Cup Series debut race at Iowa Speedway. If you're just now joining us, this has been a very eventful race thus far. Lots of side-by-side battling for the lead between a few of our drivers in the field, working on caution number 10 of the Dinner Mitts 200, presented by the band The Familiar Strange, who sponsored the race, celebrating the release of their self-titled debut album, Familiar Strange, now available for listening on all major streaming platforms. As you see the link pop up at the bottom of your screen to the album. I took a listen to it last week and I really enjoyed it. Reminded me of some kind of late 70s, early 80s soft rock, if you like David Bowie, if you like Elton John, if you like Queen, the inspiration is definitely there. I'm a big fan of all three of those groups, so I really enjoyed the album. So please support the sponsor, go listen to the album, and share the love with the Familiar Strange. You can find links to their group using the Linktree link at the bottom of the screen. As I believe that was a very, very late wave around, as the lights are going to go back on the pace car. So we're going to have at least one more lap before we go back to racing. I think someone at race control might be asleep right now.
Yeah, I'm a little confused. I thought a Leaf was in third. Looks like a Leaf is in first now, so I'm a little happy, but uh, Ball State taking both positions on the front row, I believe.
Yeah, because I had Nanny as the leader, Morton second, and a Leaf third. At the time of caution. So something happened there. I'm not sure what. But anyway, it looks like Muhammad Alif is going to be the leader for this restart. These are going to be his first laps led of the race. It's going to be Daniel Nanny to his outside, going to try and retake the lead. Matt Morton to the inside of row 2 with Zach DeWale, and then Drew Williams, Clint Halterman, Jason Wallet, Jake Cummings, Andrew Stagey, and Charles Wembley cracking his way back up into the top 10 tonight as Benny makes the hard left onto pit road. Barney with the green flag in hand. He says, send it, and we are back to racing at Iowa. Whoa, Williams! Hard hit into the wall as he got loose into turn 1. He's going to come to a stop on the track, and that's going to bring out caution number 11. Disaster striking for the number 123 Clemson machine. And that is going to bring out the caution. We barely got rolling again, in trouble for Drew Williams striking early.
I think it just started to veer a little low as Clint Halterman seemed to be on Williams' low side, and just a tiny little bit of contact that brought him around and made him make contact with the wall. Is going to immediately head on their pit road to get some repairs. But yeah, definitely not the restart Williams would have wanted. But it seems like the damage to the car is fairly minor, I hope, at least when it comes to the bodyboards.
I don't know about that.
You know, is
yeah, that right front wheel is not pointed straight, my dude. Oh, yeah, look at that.
Well, unfortunate.
Whose pit board is Ken from Barbie? I'm sorry. I just noticed that. That's hilarious.
Wait, let's look at the replay of what this incident happened to be, and I think I hit the nail on the head. Just wasn't fully clear with Clinton Alterman on the low side, and I think as he went high, flipped one of the Wingate machines. Not quite sure who, but
that was Jake Cummings in the 100 machine. I'm not sure if Williams knew that Halterman was to his inside, because that was a very, very confident move down low.
Yeah, and potentially terminal damage with late in the race. The suspension damage on the right side of the car is gonna definitely be quite the unfortunate position to be in.
Yeah, Williams in the hunt still for his first College Cup Series win in these next-gen cars, and it looks like it's going to have to wait another week. Possibly terminal damage, as you said, with the link on the right front of that car. Those virtual iRacing pit crew is going to try to get that thing put together as quickly as possible to get that number 123 back out on track. But another car falling victim to Iowa Speedway. This track is quickly becoming the beast of the calendar.
We'll have to see what the stewards think on that incident. But definitely an awkward incident, to say the least.
So remember how at the top of the show we mentioned that this race might go to time? Well, I think I see some virtual thunder clouds rolling up as we have about 28 minutes left on the clock, according to producer Keith. So at this point, I believe we do not have enough time left in the session to make it to the scheduled distance. So these drivers are going to be racing on time. 28 minutes, less than 30 seconds a lap. If we stay green, we can get almost to lap 195. It's going to be a stretch getting there, but the odds of this race going green all the way the rest of the way are pretty slim. So I think if I'm a driver and I notice that this next caution that comes out, I'm going to go down pit road, go ahead and pick up a set of tires, and then just hope and pray that I can make it to the end. So producer Christian just told us that Clint Halterman is Ken Uff, and that is his pit board. So Clint, I approve. That's funny. As there he is, the man himself from Stokesdale, North Carolina, inside his apartment on the rig. Got that nice. That's a really nice setup. He's got the gloves on, ready to roll. A lot of these drivers racing with gloves. I love it.
So
I do wear gloves. Producer Christian just asked. I've got a pair of cheap Walmart gloves that I bought about 3 years ago. They're still doing the job pretty well.
Well, so Clint Halterman is Knuff. If we get him in the interview booth, can we have him do have him do a cover of one of the songs from the movie, or will we get copy strikes?
I don't know that he would approve of that, but we can certainly try. As the field's going to get stacked up 2 by 2 once again, we are ready to go racing one more time. We're going to ride on board with Clint for this restart, as per a couple of other drivers we've done this race. But Barney's got the green flag in hand. He says send it, and we are once again racing at I. And Zach DeWale right there with a big moment, already fighting his car on cold tires coming out of turn 4. Driver's eye view for Clint Halterman. He got a nice windshield full of that moment. But for right now, Matt Morton is gonna, he's actually got the lead back in just that short little stint. So Ohio State back out in front over R. Muhammad Alif and Ball State University. Daniel Nanny in 3rd place for the time being. Zach DeWale in 4th. Halterman in 5th. Jason Wallet for Drexel. Kelton Quick in 7th. Andrew Stagey, Ben Neller, and Lucas Moody, all from Ball State. Once again, 5 Ball State drivers inside the top 10. Now 4. Spoke too soon, as Jake Cummings is going to resecure that last spot inside the top 10 for Wingate University.
Morton and Alif fighting super close here. Or who's going to take the lead of this race. As we said, it might be a time-limited race, which in that case, you really do not want to rest and wait for the time to strike. You want to, I imagine you want to be right up front and in that defensive position to just leave yourself in a comfortable position such that whenever that time does run out, you're already up front and not having to be concerned on if you're going to get that one little extra green flag lap that you might need to take away the lead. Either if you're already there, you gotta worry.
Our Muhammad Alif still trying to go to work on the back bumper of Matt Morton, but he's got pressure from Zach DeWale behind him, as we've had 2 separate battles break out inside the top 6. 1, 2, 3 fighting for the lead at the moment, as our Muhammad Alif looks to the inside of Matthew Morton. Can't get the move to stick, as the top 3 are now nose to tail. The second battle behind him, Jason Wallet up to P4, the highest he's been all night, getting around Daniel Nanny from Ball State, Clint Halterman from UNC Charlotte. As now the top 6 almost nose to tail battle for the lead at the moment.
I'm really close. It almost seemed like a Leaf was about to get a bumper full of the whale on his rear end.
And a Leaf made sure DeWale went way high up the racetrack. Good defending from Ball State.
What was the line? You, as to defend, you have to make them go around.
Yeah, yep. You got to make them go around you, and that's what Our Muhammad Alif is doing at the moment. As that little slip up from all of those cars at the top front has now let Jason Wallet into the mix. He's got a chance now to crack into his first podium in a pretty long stretch of races here. So good to see that number 76 machine having a good race ahead of him tonight.
I feel like we kind of mentioned it at the top of the show that races like this, where it's like such a different venue than what we've seen before, can lead to some unfamiliar drivers running up front, such as Malat, which I feel like we haven't seen much in the last couple of rounds. So we're going side by side right here, where we look at two different battles. The front, of course, with the lead, and as well as further back, where we have Jake Cummings defending against Helton Quick in the Ball State machine, and Ricky Paz as well. Three-way battle for P7, fighting pretty closely here. So, any
shout out to shout out to Ricky Paz, having himself a night tonight. Got involved in an incident earlier on in the race, dropped his way outside of the top 15, top 20, and then has now since worked his way back up into the top 10, challenging for 7th against Jake Cummings, as we now have a three-way battle for the 8th position. That's Kelton Quick to the outside of his teammate Andrew Stagey. Charles Wembley for Guilford College trying to force the issue, going to make it 3 wide off of turn 4. A really aggressive move for that machine, as he's going to pick up tried to pick up 2 positions on the front stretch. Couldn't get the job done, but he is going to pick off the number 2 of Quick, as he loses 2 spots in one corner, as now Guilford College still on the back bumper of Ball State, as they now come into the mix with Jake Cummings.
What a move from Wembley there, but we have a fight for the lead up top as well. It seems like there was a bit of a side-by-side section between Morton and DeWale, as they keep trying to decide who is going to lead this race. Lap 148 as we currently stand, and this is so far from over.
Far from over indeed. I think we are slightly good on time now. We've got 52 laps remaining in this race, and it has once again become Matthew and Zach DeWale's show up at the front of the field. Jason Wallet now breaking into the podium for the first time tonight. He's on his way up. Is he going to stop, or is he going to have a run at the lead here in the next few laps? But Matt Morton still yet to really have a challenge in about the last 50 laps or so since he took the lead from Zach DeWale right at the stroke of midnight, right at the stroke of noon in this race. So 51 laps to go, 50 when they cross the line in tonight's Dinner Mints 200, presented by the familiar Strange 200 lap event, to decide who could potentially be the next driver to lock themselves into the College Cup Series playoffs. Right now, Matt Morton, currently the only driver inside the top 5 who has done so. The other driver is Jake Cummings in the 100 for Wingate, sitting down in 8th. But both Zach DeWale and Jason Wallet, as well as Daniel Nanny, would love to walk away with a win tonight and lock themselves into the playoffs before, I believe, we head to Pocono next week.
Yeah, again, another very distinct venue in Pocono next week that, again, could really have some diverse
to allow a lot of different drivers to work their way up to the top. There's tracks like that work in their favor. But yeah, Pocono, a track that we haven't been to since, I think, season 3. So it's been off the schedule for a very, very long time. So good to see that we're heading back to the Tricky Triangle. And I think that track is going to play to the strength of a lot of drivers in the field, maybe detriment of some others. But one driver who this track has really played into the favor of is Jason Wallet, somebody that we really don't talk about inside the top 5 regularly, and he's having an absolute breakout race tonight. So props to him for putting on a great performance for that Drexel Esports machine.
Yeah, he's had a bit of a surprising rise here, and I'm all for it, and I'm hopeful that Willot can take a bit of bite out of the whale and Morton to maybe get himself, I want to say their first win, if I'm not mistaken.
No, that is Wallet won the Daytona 250 a couple of seasons ago, last spring. That was actually his first race in the CIL. And he came out guns a-blazing, won, became the Daytona 250 champ, rode that all the way to the playoffs that season. Winless last season, but a good run tonight would really put some momentum underneath the wheels of that car.
Yeah, certainly only about half a second behind Morton in the lead. So definitely could try to do some magic tonight to break the drought of wins for Jason Willot. Starting lap 157 here. Our top 5 separated by less than a second, though. Leaf, Nanny, both in Ball State, are still trying to fight their way through this to get some well-deserved points. Maybe eke out a win, depending on how the rest of this race shakes out. But Morton, oh, it must have been a good lap because now they're 4/10 ahead.
Yeah, Morton with a really solid last couple of laps pulled out to a 4/10 of a second lead over the field. That lead looks gargantuan compared to this battle between the rest of these cars, as now that both of those Ball State machines with Daniel Nanny and R. Muhammad Alif have come to life, as they're going to try to work their way around the 76 of Wallet to get up into the podium positions and try to challenge the two, I guess you could call them, the titans of the race tonight, as we have a caution, and it's two Clemson drivers collected between each other. Oh no, that is Nick Stockner and Andrew Burrell, and that is I believe that was another Ball State car caught up in that incident running slow on the bottom lane. And that Burrell machine is completely destroyed.
I think your Ball State car was Moody who was involved. Seemed like they were about close currently, at least. Yeah.
Yes, that is Moody. Lucas Moody. Ouch.
Yeah.
And he was having a great race, too.
There, but definitely, at least comparatively, was on the good end. So we'll have to see how that transpired real quick as we look at the replay for what caused, I believe this is a 12th caution of the night.
Yeah, caution number 12 of the night coming out on lap 159. And it was actually Lucas Moody and Ricky Paz getting together. Burrell. Oh, wow. Nowhere to go for that 121 machine. Stockner, I guess, trying to avoid the spinning number 13, shot up the track, lost control of the car. So it wasn't the Clemson cars that collided. They were actually both casualties on the side.
Yeah, but depending on how much time is left, I think there might be some drivers who will try to come down pit road to maybe play for this last stint of the race, depending on how much time is left. So definitely want to watch out for seeing if there's any strategy calls. Since we do have a couple takers, we have Del Whale and Nanny who are going to take the pits to try to make this last stint of the race. Halterman as well, further back. So,
and most of the leaders did come down pit road. I believe the only car inside the top 10 that stayed out was Matt Morton. So this is going to be an interesting call. I think coming down pit road was the correct call here, but I could be proven wrong. We've seen Matt Morton win the race, win some races on wild strategies before. Can he do it again tonight? We have 17 minutes left in this race, so I believe we will not go to full distance. Those virtual rain clouds getting a little bit closer with every lap that ticks by under caution.
Let's look back at that incident. Take a look on the ride along Andrew Burrell during that incident. Yeah, just nowhere to go. Locked up the tires, couldn't steer as Stockner comes in very fast from scene left and slaps the wall. Unfortunate incident to kind of throw us under our 12th caution of the night, but might be able to continue on, but definitely not along amongst the lead pack. We can see actually Stockner and Burrow both in that background there. But you mentioned who stayed out. I think we actually have another couple people who stayed out, both Morton and Alif
Morton,
there. So both of our
Alif.
predictions
Oh
deciding to
boy.
take the
Oh boy.
So I think a couple cars are also going to decide on this, but I think a decent chunk of them are a lap down or damaged or possibly both. So definitely is the less popular of these main two strategy calls that we see. So I think what's running through Morton and the Leafs heads right now, definitely have to see later, but they are just thinking, can these slow cars help us out here? Well, they'll get past because their laps down.
Well, I think the advantage is going to go in the
Ball
favor of
State.
Muhammad Alif, because look at that train of
my-
5 Ball State cars all nose to tail. We've seen those 5 cars in and out of the top 10 all night, but now they are locking out 5 of the top 6 spots on track, as the first car who came down pit road is going to be, I believe, Zach DeWale, leading Jason Wallet. Everybody else in front of them stayed out this most recent pit cycle, and I'm pretty sure these guys up front are really going to be hoping for a quick, short green flag run so they can get back down pit road for some tires, because they're going to get absolutely eaten up on this restart.
Yeah, Alif has the Great Wall of Ball State cars sitting right behind him, and I think that's just a nice little insurance plan if the teammates want to help out their buddy to try to get the win here tonight by running some unique defensive strategies to slow down the cars that did pit for these fresh tires. We'll have to see if that does transpire, but definitely I think is possible. But lights are out. We'll see what happens once we get back underway on the 165th lap of this race.
Yep. Pull your seatbelts tight, ladies and gentlemen, because this is going to get wild. Pace car makes the hard left onto pit road. Barney got the green in hand. He says, send it, and we're back to racing at Iowa. And already those cars on new tires eating up the cars that stayed out. I think Ball State has collectively lost about 5 or 6 positions in about half a lap. Timothy Wilms there in the Drexel got dusted by his teammate, and a couple of other cars in the top 10 as he's now going to fall out of the top 10 as the rest of the field goes by.
Yeah, I think it's already just a lot looking behind at our Muhammad Alif, and is just going to probably fly by. Yeah, so you can get a different perspective on this battle here, but yeah, these new tires are just running away with this, and I think Willa is in the best position to take this win if Morton has, and if Morton doesn't have anything to say about it, of course.
Well, these are going to be 3 of the toughest drivers in the field to pass, as it looks like Wallet's going to try and knock off the first one on his list, Muhammad Alif. To his outside, it's Jason Wallet underneath the Ball State Giant. Can he get the pass done? Alif is on older tires. Wallet's on new tires. Wallet's now being hounded by Halterman behind him in that UNC Charlotte car, also hungry for win of the season to lock himself into the playoffs. Wallet can't quite get the pass done on Alif. Halterman, I think for a millisecond, thought about looking under Wallet, but thought better of taking it 3 wide here at this track. But Wallet does it anyway. He stagey as our Muhammad Alif is now relegated down to the 4th position, battling with Halterman. Wallet underneath stagey. Our Muhammad Alif looking to the outside of his teammate. 3 wide there for just a moment, and we're going to be 3 wide coming off. Halterman backs out just a little bit. The smart move to say, I'm going to pick this battle later, as Matthew Morton has yet to run away from the front of this field. He is now right there, nose to bumper with Jason Wallet. Wallet looking to the inside now. And look at this hornet's nest of a pack, all battling for the lead. They are hungry for this win as time is running out in this race.
Here he comes, Jason Willott on the inside of Matthew Morton. I think the fresh tires are going to have the better of him. Jason Willott might be in a position to take the lead from
He got him.
Morton. There he goes. Now it's only Willott to compete. Halterman is still there, has the fresh tires, and he's definitely going to try to fight it. Lap 171, I'm not sure how much time we have left, but it's certainly running out, and Willott is going to be defending as hard as he can.
This is going to be the hardest Willott has ever defended in his life. This would be his first College Cup Series win at a non-plate track. The Daytona 250 champ from a couple seasons ago hasn't been to victory lane since, and he is hungry for that win to lock himself into the playoffs. But so is Clint Halterman for UNC Charlotte, as they're going to be 1, 2, 3 with Daniel Nanny just behind them trying to close in.
If there's any time that you want to replicate your qualifying times, now is that time. Jason Willott running only about a 10th behind their qualifying or their best lap of at least the race. Well, Halterman goes around the outside. Willott probably going to give a bit of side drafting on Halterman's car, but Willott running the inside. I think Halterman has it for at least the time being. Willott still on the inside and is going to run alongside with about a lane space between the two of them. This battle is not yet over.
We just got word from producer Keith that Willott has been down pit road 7 times tonight, either for tires, service, fuel, damage, something. That car has been on and off of pit road all night, and yet he still persists at the front of this field. Had the lead for a little bit, maybe overdrove the car a little bit, trying to take the lead away, as he now has lost the lead to Clint Halterman and is now at risk of losing second to Zach DeWale. But here comes Daniel Nanny, and Charles Wembley for Guilford College has cracked his way into the top 5 after suffering a lot of misfortune in about the second third of the race. Brandon Schulenberger just behind his teammate Jake Cummings, those two Wingate cars duking it out for position right now. Matt Morton now relegated to the 8th position with Muhammad Alif and Ben Neller, as you're going to ride on board with Zach DeWale in the bottom right corner, one of 2 Canadian drivers in the field tonight representing the Great North up above, as he is riding in the 3rd place at the moment. Right now, Jason Willott in 2nd place. Not the overall winner, but he would be credited with a win in the student division. So if you look at the banners on the cars, you're going to see that some of them are red and some of them are blue. If they're red, like Zach DeWale is an alumni. He has already graduated college, but he still wants to race with us in the CIL. And Jason Willott is a current student at Drexel University. Those blue banners are our students. So for the purposes of the playoffs, all the drivers are scored together. But there are still 4 individual championships to win for student and alumni, both driver and school, up for stakes. So 5 possible trophies to grab here in the College Cup Series. And Jason Willott pulling his weight right now for Drexel University, as he is at student lead to Daniel Nanny and Ball State University, who tried to make the move to the inside through turns 1 and 2 that time by. But it's going to be 2 alumni at the front of the field, Clint Halterman and Zach DeWale, duking it out for the lead for the time being, as Willott and Nanny going back and forth. They have since left Charles Wembley behind, relegated him to battling Jake Cummings for that 5th position.
Yeah, practically in a class of their own right now. All of them are fresh tires, these top 4, and all of them trying to fight to get as many positions as they can. But it's all in Clint Halterman right now. The Whale trying to find any gap that they can't make to try to take away the lead and get their win and lock themselves into the CIL College Cup Series playoffs. Looking on the low side to get side by side with Halterman here. St. Clair Machine going to try to take a pass for the lead, and I think they're ahead as they head into turn number 3 and 4. Now the Whale, who was in the lead of the race earlier, is now taking the lead for themselves. And now Nanny is going to take the pick on Halterman to take 2nd away.
Great battling here inside the top 5, jockeying for these 3 podium positions, as Willott gets loose out of turn 2. A mistake for the Drexel driver. It's all coming apart for him at the last possible moment, as he has now fallen into the clutches of Charles Wembley and Guilford College. as we now have just under 8 minutes left in this race. So about 10, we'll call that 10:56 p.m. Eastern is when the checkered flag is going to fly. We will not make it to the end. So the battle for the lead is on. Checkered flag could fly at any moment about 7 or 8 minutes from now. So these drivers are going to leave it all on the field, and I think Daniel Nanny has done enough to save tires. He's going to make his way up through the pack, up to second place, and is now challenging for the lead with Zach DeWale.
All the way on Ball State, trying to get a win today, rests on Nanny's shoulders right now, fighting against DeWale, giving it their all, and I think getting a little bit of an oversteer moment going out of turn number 2 there, but Nanny looking on the low side, I think, alongside DeWale here, and might give some side draft to beat. Well, we have Burrell in the grass, but we stay green to keep this battle up front alive. I think Nanny has a little bit fresher tires and is going to be able to throw everything at DeWale right here as the time keeps ticking away.
DeWale took a really defensive line out of turn 2 right there and about paid the price as Nanny washed up and the two almost made contact, but we're going to keep going for the time being. 16 laps left in this race, but it's going to get cut short by the session timer, aka the rain that is on the way. So these two drivers duking it out. Not sure how much of that is left in the race, but this is going to be the battle for the win, barring something insane happening between these two drivers or a last-minute charge from Charles Wembley, who has now made his way into the top 3. Somebody lit a match under that machine. He wasn't even in the top 10 about 20 laps ago.
Completely shaken up from the earlier, I want to say 3/4 of this race, and here's Nanny on the inside, much closer than they were previously, trying to take the lead away from DeWale here as they pass the lap car of Stockner down on the low side. This
5 minutes.
So close. 5 minutes, according to
5 minutes left in this race is the call from producer Keith. We got a car spinning on the low side, but they're going to stay off as the two leaders touch coming out of turn 2. But it's going to be Daniel Nanny with a nose ahead, and barely that into turn 3 as he barely clears the nose of Zach DeWale and will take lead of this race with less than 5 minutes remaining. Lap traffic playing into effect, but here comes Charles Wembley right up to the bumper of Zach DeWale. There is a head of steam coming from that Guilford College car.
This was chaotic. Guilford. Charles Wembley was nowhere to be seen about only 10 laps ago, and we have the caution.
The caution comes out, and that might be the end of the race.
Unless, do we hit an overtime here? That's my question.
I don't. If the timer runs out, I don't think we get a green-white checkered finish. Although I'm trying to remember, we had this happen last season, and something unexpected occurred. So, hold on, folks. This race might be over. It might not.
Let's take a look at what did cause this incident here to neutralize that battle for the lead real quick.
Number two of
car.
Oh man, that's the third time we've seen that tonight. Oh, is that Michael Sidor with just nowhere to go? Couldn't avoid the spinning 2 car.
Yeah, an incident that we've seen a couple times tonight. I think it was at least once with Ricky Paz, and I want to say Edward Sanchez was the other time we've seen that.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. Very common, it seems, with a little bit of tire degradation. The rear tires get a little bit too burned and causes a very unpredictable.
So now the question is, are you banking on the race being over and staying out? Or do you think we're going to get a green-white checkered and a CIL overtime finish, especially if you're towards the back of the pack? Try to come down pit road if the leaders are going to stay out, get those fresh tires and see how much damage you can do before those 2 laps are up. We got just under 3 minutes left in the session, so I don't believe we're going to go back to green flag racing but we're gonna keep y'all updated as we learn things. I think it was Nashville last season that had this bug where we thought the race was over, and we had called the race as if it was over, but we had a surprise green, white, checkered finish, and I think these drivers are mentally preparing themselves for CIL overtime. So if we get there, the CIL overtime rules is it's going to be a 2-lap shootout. The drivers will take the green flag, the white flag, and then the checkered flag. Once the drivers take the green flag, that is going to be the next flag ends the race, as I think we're seeing victory wiggles from Daniel Nanny, as it doesn't look like we're going to have enough time to go back green flag racing. So for the time being, Daniel Nanny in his 3rd College Cup Series start in a great position to take the win here at the Dinner Mints 200 from Iowa Speedway after a phenomenal, chaotic race and a great battle for the lead, a well-timed launch to the lead, and it's going to go the way of Ball State University for the time being.
Yeah, that late strategy call paid off perfectly for Nanny. Some very close racing there with DeWale, just sealing the deal to get himself locked into the playoffs for this season, and really well done by Nanny. That was some blood-boiling racing. I have to commend them for that. That was some very brave action there. It's where they were getting like oversteer out of the turns and all that. Both them and DeWale, and neither one of them wanted to give up an inch on a millimeter. But ultimately, it's going to go the way of Nanny, unless we get this overtime. But I'm going to bank on that it being over. Oh, lights are out on the pace car. I think we might get an overtime. I jinxed it.
Here we go, folks. Lights are out on the pace car. Session timer is going to overtime. We're going to get a CIL overtime finish. The drivers are going to take the green flag. Then the next flag will end the race, whether it's the white flag, the checkered flag, or the caution flag that flies. So it's going to be another 2 laps until the end of this race. I think we are at the moment where the session has extended the time to where if we don't get a caution, this race actually could end on distance. So hang on to your seats, folks. This is going to be one of the best finishes you will see all season. It's Daniel Nanny with a shot to win his first ever College Cup Series race, leading Zach DeWale, Charles Wembley, Jason Wallet, Jake Cummings, Clint Halterman into the Geico restart zone. Here we go, one last time, racing in Iowa.
One hell of a start for Nanny here to try to maintain their lead as we are in the closing stages of this race.
They're going to be 3 wide for the 4th position. That's Morton, Leaf, and Wallet going 3 wide as Charles Wembley throws a heck of a block on Matt Morton coming out of turn 2. Great dodge maneuver by Muhammad Alif. He's still in the middle of that 3 wide going into turn 3, but the advantage is going to go the way of Daniel Nanny, open a half a second lead over Zach DeWale. Now he's to the outside of Matt Morton, as now here comes and it's a hard hit for Jake Cummings. It's towards the back of the top 10. The rest of the field piles in behind him, and I believe that is going to do it for Cummings. That motor is completely blown, smoke pouring out of the back of that Wingate machine. Caution comes out. Daniel Nanny retains the lead.
What a way to close out this race.
Wow.
Wonderful green flag action. That's going to be a much more satisfying way to take the win than a confusion around the timer. So well helped. And look at Morton up there. He climbed up quite a couple positions to take a podium position. So how about that?
Great drive from Matt Morton. Pretty much completely counted out of this race until the final seconds when he made up about 7 or 8 spots on that last restart. to make his way onto the podium. But we are going to take a look at the replay that brought out the most recent caution. Waiting on official word from virtual race control per whatever iRacing is automated. But a hard hit for Jake Cummings, as it looks like, the tank slapper got loose on entry, overcorrected the car, nowhere to go for, I believe, that was Kelton Quick, and a Valpo car caught up in that incident as well. Ethan Decatur,
that was.
Yes. Lights remaining on the pace car at the moment, as they went ahead and gave, I believe, that is Timothy Wilms, the free pass to get himself another lap. Less than 1 minute left on the clock, so I think, in the words of producer Keith, that's GG's. Daniel Nanny, the leader, in prime position to take the win away from this race and lock himself into the College Cup Series playoffs. Zach DeWale second, Matthew Morton third, Muhammad Ali fourth, and Jason Wallet with a heck of a run finishing fifth here. We are going to wait to see exactly what's going on. We don't want to call anything too soon. Barney not waving the white flag just yet. He's still got that yellow flag in hand.
Wait.
And there we have it. Time has been extended. So now we have a pattern. If a race is close to finishing, but the time is about to run out, iRacing will extend the session timer. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go overtime racing. This race is still not over.
Oh, no.
Oh, my goodness.
This could be a finish of a lifetime. I actually want to call it that.
This is going to be a 201 lap race, man.
There were times that we thought that we weren't even going to hit distance.
We've been calling the checkered flag for about 10 minutes now, but now we know exactly what's going on. Man, the Familiar Strange paid for the sponsorship for this race, and they are absolutely getting their money's worth. This is going to be a phenomenal ending, as the lights are going to stay on the pace car. I believe, yes, there it is. 3 laps to go is now the official count. I'm showing 201 laps on my counter for the race length. So I think these drivers are going to get one more lap of pacing before we go back to green.
Just gotta wonder what the strategy is for Nanny here. On the last restart, we saw that they had a wonderful get out from the Geico restart zone, a wonderful acceleration to secure a decent gap from DeWale such that they didn't have to fight for it. This time around, I feel like DeWale is going to be ready for it, and it's going to try to react as soon as they can to get themselves in the best position to try to fight for the win here. So is everyone else.
All I could think of is poor Tyler Reddick at the Circuit of the Americas NASCAR race last year, where they had like 6 overtime attempts, and he kept thinking every time it was going to be the last time around, and then they just kept wrecking, and it seemed like the end of the race would never come. Well, I think that's the position that Daniel Nanny is in right now. He is going to have to defend and drive like he has never had to drive in the College Cup Series before. Yes, the lights on the pace car have gone off. It's officially going to be CIL overtime for the second time this season. The first time at Auto Club, it produced a phenomenal finish where Jake Cummings took the win. But can Daniel Nanny finish the job? He's got Zach DeWale to his outside, Matthew Morton behind him, the 2 Titans who have dominated all race, Muhammad Ali in row 2. Every one of these drivers is hungry for a spot in the College Cup Series playoffs. It's going to be 2 laps, less than 2 miles to decide the winner. They're going to hit the restart zone. Barney throws the green. For the last time, we are racing at Iowa.
Oh!
And Matthew Morton gets the move done. He takes the lead from Daniel Nanny, goes to the inside of turn 3 and 4. I think that's the white flag lap. Yes, they are coming to the checkered flag as the field wrecks behind them. And it's going to be Matthew Morton who wins his second race in 2 weeks.
I think this is white flag. I think Barney was waving the white, wasn't he?
That was the end of the race. I believe there was a wreck coming off of turn 4, as the race is now over. Matthew Moore unofficially the winner. We're gonna wait and see what iRacing says. Muhammad Ali finishes second, Zach DeWale third, and it looks like some confusion between the drivers as they're coming to the line. Maybe some thought it was a green-white checkered finish, but no, it was just a one-lap shootout. I don't think the iRacing automatic race stewarding knew what it was doing there.
What a turnaround.
Yeah.
What a turnaround for Morton to somehow find their way to make a win out of such a unlikely scenario on the old tires against a field full of fresh runners, and somehow pulling himself up to the front with one hell of a move on Daniel Nanny to pull the win. Absolutely
and the results,
miraculous.
And the results have been finalized by iRacing. Matthew Morton is officially the winner of tonight's event. Muhammad Ali will finish second, Zach DeWale third. They are your podium finishers for tonight's Dinner Mints 200 presented by the Familiar Strange. We're going to interview all of those drivers here in just a couple of moments. But for the time being, Matthew Morton, for the second time in 2 weeks, is going to burn it down on the front stretch and try to do the rolling burnout all the way to pit road. It's going to be pretty easy to do on this hot, slick track. He's going to pull that number 1 Ohio State car into victory lane.
Flat spot in that front right there.
He's got the fronts completely locked up, but those rear tires are just blowing smoke right now. I think he's going to do a... is this the Kyle Larson strat where he tries to do a burnout around the entire track? I think he's going to make it.
Just as focused on the burnout than he was on the racing, as you can see in the camera right there.
Putting on a great show for the spectators and for all of you at home and us in the booth.
He did the track deep around. Does it mean that he had to get one removed from his lap counter?
And he's going to continue the show as he parks it on the start-finish line. What a great finish. What a great burnout at the finish for Matthew Morton. We're going to wait for him to hop up here in the booth to talk with him. But man, John, what a race. Lots of drama, lots of chaos, good battles from start to finish. Wow.
That was mad. Just the one lap shootout to close it out, and Morton pulling it with some completely out of left field moves to secure the win tonight. Man, that was insane.
And in fact, let's go ahead and talk to the man of the hour, Matthew Morton. We talked to you at the top of the show. We somehow knew that you would be back here in the booth. Congratulations on winning tonight's Dinner Mints 200 from Iowa Speedway. We saw the no pit call towards the end of the race, but somehow you clawed your way back up to the race win. What did it take for you to get back in contention on this thing, despite being on older tires?
We just needed a caution there at the end. I was really hoping that we would get around a 20-lap run there, starting from 160. But unfortunately, we had to wait a lot longer than we wanted. Me and Alif were just trying to wait for a caution, and it happened right in front of us, which is not what we wanted at all. But regardless, we finally got the caution. But once we pitted there, we knew we were in a good shot to get the win there with around 10 laps to go. And luckily, the tires difference just allowed us to get there to the front.
Yeah, you're running up front there for most of the time until that sort of like that last kind of stint with this call on the strategy. What was your what did you learn? What did you take note of during the whole of the first stint to try to get as good advantage as you could in the end.
Yeah, the rear tires were shredding a lot throughout the run, so just knowing how to take the corners and exit as safely as you can without slipping the tires. Um, Really, that's what the first stint of the race was used for, and you just had to just crawl around the racetrack. It was kind of sketch, but it was really fun battling when we were really tight there after like 20 laps.
Well, with tonight's win, that's your second win this season. You have officially taken the lead in the playoff standings. You mentioned at the top of the show how you weren't going to push, but if the win came to you, you were going to take it. Do you think that was a message sent to the rest of the field that, hey, I'm here, I'm at the top of my game, and I'm ready to win another title?
I don't want to come off that cocky, but I'm definitely gonna do stuff that I normally wouldn't do to try to get wins, and I think tonight proves a good point of that.
Well, congratulations on your win. But while we've got you here in the booth, you know the deal. Anybody you want to thank or while we've got you here?
Shout out to you guys in the booth. You and Christian behind the scenes. Awesome to go back and watch the replays. Love that you guys broadcast our series. Shout out to the sponsor of this race. And then shout out my family that are probably watching, probably in bed, but they'll probably watch it when they wake up in the morning. Shout out Ohio State. Love representing them doing this. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, congratulations on your second win of the season, and we'll surely see you back here in the booth soon.
Thank you guys. Go Bucks.
And was tonight's winner of the Dinner Mints 200 presented by the Familiar Strange from Iowa Speedway, Matthew Morton and Ohio State University, getting the job done, clutching up exactly when they needed to.
Yeah, one hell of a run at the end of that race to really pull out one miraculous victory. It was out of left field, and it was just one. It was a super impressive move. I'm literally speechless. I'm stuttering on my words to find ones to describe how confident of a move, how dominant of a move. Really well done for Matthew Morton.
And now let's go ahead and talk to our runner-up finisher tonight, R. Muhammad Ali from Ball State University. In the top 10, top 5 for pretty much that entire event, and couldn't quite get the job done there at the end, but still a strong P2 finish for you and the BSU Esports Cardinals. Take us through what it was like to be in the car during the race. Was it really as sketchy as some of the drivers were making it out to be during practice?
Yeah, very sketchy. The rears were just swoop around on you, unexpected. So we practiced really hard for this, the team and I. So I think that's the result that you kind of saw with, like, I think one of the races, all 6 of us were in the top 10, which was pretty cool. And then, I mean, for me, it was just working with Daniel. I think he's a great driver. And then, working with the strategy. I saw Daniel dive into the pits like 2 cautions before, and I was like, okay, let's split the strategy. So I stuck with Matthew just in case a late caution came out, which it did, and at least damage limitation for the the college points in P2.
Yeah, at the tail end of that race, we were looking at a caution, and you were sitting in front of I think it was about 4 of your teammates. I think Andrew called it the Great Wall of Ball. Was there any
Yes.
sort of plan behind that? Any sort of Ball State strategy that you were hoping to cook up, or was that just circumstance? And
Yeah, I mean, we've been practicing really hard because this track is especially tough. So put in extra time just to make sure that all of us could be in contention. And then I think at the end it was just either trying to help Daniel win or get the win, or try in a way so that I could get the win, either way, or one of the others. So I think that was the overall plan. As Ben walking behind me, but yeah, I think that was kind of the plan. But we're getting there in Cup. We haven't really gotten to where we exactly want to be in CIL Cup, but we're working hard for that.
Well, there were multiple times that we saw pretty much half of the top 10 or a considerable portion of it taken up by the Ball State drivers. How did that help you out there as you were battling for the lead?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, that was great help. Obviously, we were kind of we were all on Discord together, so we are just bantering and just trying to plan ahead. I was trying to keep them all calm and not ruin it. But yeah, I mean, they did a great job. Really, I have to really give it to them, considering how hard the track is, how hard the conditions were. It was very hot. We initially thought it would be a night race, so we kind of practiced at night, and then we kind of realized that it was daytime and then just super hot, so no grip for us. But I think everyone had the same conditions, and I think eventually, yeah, P2 is pretty decent.
Pretty decent indeed. Congratulations again on such a great race tonight. While we've got you in the booth, you know the drill. Would you like to shout anybody out on the show?
Yeah, my whole team. I don't know if you guys can see my webcam, but they're all over there right now. Yeah.
Oh, hi,
So
friends.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, all the whole oval team. Ben, Kelton, Andrew, Lucas. Also our road team, who's also killing it. Kale, Lucas, and Bradley. And also our esports directors, Dan Marino and Brendan and Dean Turner for the support. My family in Singapore, who's also watching, who's been pushing me to get better at ovals. So big shout out to them. And yeah.
Well, congratulations again on your second place finish tonight. And I know for a fact we'll see you back here in the booth later on.
Thank you. See you guys.
Have a good one. That was our runner-up finisher tonight, Muhammad Ali from Ball State University. And I've said it once and I'll say it again, Dan Marino has put together such a phenomenal program over there at Ball State. Complete dominance on the road side of things in Formula C and the Collegiate Prototype Challenge. And with Muhammad Ali and Lucas Moody and now the addition of Daniel Nanny, it looks like they're starting to put together another class program here in the College Cup Series.
Yeah, certainly. Especially with runs like that from so many drivers running up front. I think Ball State is probably one of the quintessential sim racing programs that you can try to take lessons from and try to incorporate if you wanted to start up your own program. So definitely start taking notes if you are trying to start one up at your own school.
And anybody can do this too. There's a lot of great programs here in the CIL to model yourself after, ask questions. St. Clair among one of the bigger ones. Ball State coming onto the scene over the last couple seasons. Clemson's been established for a while. UNC Charlotte, Valpo, a lot of really good programs here in the CIL. But Ball State just on another level right now on holistic terms. But we're going to go ahead and talk to our third place finisher tonight. Third place overall, alumni class winner, Zach DeWale from St. Clair College. Congratulations on another great race finish.
Thank you. It was a very fun race. This car handled like a boat. I love it.
A boat indeed. I want to ask you the same question that I asked Alif. A lot of drivers were really complaining about the setup and how hot the track was and how poorly the car was handling. Did you find that to be the case over the course of the race? Did it become easier to handle as the race went on?
At the start of the run, it was pretty rough. It was really loose on power, but I found after a couple laps, once I got some heat in the tires, once you kind of build up a little bit of a rhythm, it wasn't so bad. But yeah, tire wear was pretty big. Hot track definitely plays into it, and this setup was just nasty to tires. So, yeah, it was definitely tricky to keep tires under it, but it's got to be smooth and take care of them, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of a diversity between short runs, long runs. I guess a little bit biased on the short, but is there any sort of like lessons from each of which that you tried to apply later on in the race, or what was going through your head?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I was pretty good on the short runs. I think that's where I was kind of the best today. Um, which when you get a good restart like that and can pull out of it, there's always something in the back of your mind going, maybe you should slow down a little bit. You might be you're probably killing your tires. And sure enough, towards the end of that run, Morton and those guys all caught me and went flying by. So yeah, so maybe I got to take better care of my tires. Maybe that's a lesson I need to learn for next time if we ever come back. But yeah, just this place eats tires, but that's part of it. That's short track racing.
Well, Zach, we saw the move in the first long green flag stint that we had where you absolutely sent the car, took the lead, really seemingly from out of nowhere towards the bottom half of the top 10. And that was what put you in position to duke it out with Matthew Morton for the win. What was the thought process behind that call? Because both John and I found that very gutsy up here in the...
Just gotta send it. I mean, I had the top rolling pretty good tonight. I feel like I love tracks where I can run the top line, and there's something about this track that just lends itself really well to running the top like that. And I guess I figured it out a little earlier than those guys did, and fresh tires on the restart, and it just hooked up, and we were able to go flying. So, I mean, yeah, it wasn't my plan to try and get them all that quick, but I just wanted to go and get it done. And I'm glad it worked out, because if it didn't, I probably would have wound up in the wall somewhere.
Just got to send it. I'm going to put that on a t-shirt
Yeah.
at some point in the future. But that was the race that really set you up to make a run for the win, and that earns you third place overall tonight, as well as the alumni class win. So congratulations again on your finish. Well, you know the drill, Bob. Show. Is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out?
Yeah, absolutely. Trent and Chloe, sorry, Trent and Chloe, thank you for tuning in. Emily, Riley, Jordan, all the OWR guys for their support. And yeah, man, it's that was a fun race. I really like coming to Iowa. I'm glad we finally gave it a try, even though the setup wasn't to everyone's liking. It was a lot of fun to get to rep around here.
Yeah, congratulations again, and we'll see you back up here soon.
Yes, sir.
That was our third place finisher tonight, and our alumni class winner, Zach DeWale, picking up a big points haul for both himself and St. Clair College in their respective championships on the alumni side. But wow, where do we even start? What a race tonight. It had slips, trips, spills, big wrecks, a really hard track with a really hard car, and some phenomenal battles for the lead. I think Iowa is definitely going to come back on the schedule next season, although hopefully with a better setup, so these drivers can really put the pedal to the metal.
Yeah, maybe something a little bit less overseer, I think, was the main complaint. So I think the crew chiefs of the CIL definitely going to be taking some notes and going back to the garage with some setup tweaks in mind. But definitely want to see this again. I think it's probably one of the better short tracks, one of the ones where there's diversity in lines of what lines you can take and where you can go and how you can take on the track and your fellow competitors. So definitely want to see this one again. It was a wonderful race tonight.
It was, and I believe that's about going to do it for us. But before we close it out, let's go ahead and take a look at our final results from tonight's event. Your winner of the Dinnermints 200, presented by the familiar strange Matthew Morton and Ohio State University, got the job done over R. Muhammad Alif from Ball State University. Third place on the podium goes to Zach DeWale from St. Clair College. Daniel Nanny, after leading on the final restart, couldn't quite get the job done for Ball State. He will finish fourth. Charles Wembley fought back from the depths of oblivion halfway through the race to finish in the top 5 for Guilford College. Jason Wallet, after leading multiple laps over the course of the event, will finish 6th for Drexel University. Clint Halterman, P7 for UNC Charlotte. Ball State University gets another pair of drivers inside the top 10 in Lucas Moody and Andrew Stagey. And rounding out the top 10 is Brandon Schulenberger from Wingate University. Phenomenal drive for him.
In 11, we can find Felix Caporale, and then Nick Stockner in P12, who I think was caught up in a couple incidents, but caught up pretty well. And then our last car on the lead lap was Timothy Wilms from Drexel in P13. Andrew Burrell, who I think was in one of those late incidents, in P14 for Clemson University, followed by another Ball State machine in Ben Neller in P15. Andrew Williams in P16 for Clemson, followed by Michael Sidor from Pennsylvania College of Technology in 17th. Jake Cummings from Wingate University found 18th, while Logan Smith from Auburn University is in 19th. Then following, completing the top 20, is Ethan Decatur from Valpo.
P21 goes to Austin DeLong from the Penn College of Technology, Kelton Quick, P22 from Ball State University, Peyton DuLong from Penn State will finish P23, 24th goes to Ricky Paz from Valparaiso University, Alan Hong, P25 for St. Clair College, Edward Sanchez, Baruch College finishes P26 for the number 26 car. Number 33, Matthew Burton for East Tennessee State University will finish 27th. 28th goes to Sky Schreck from the University of Oklahoma. And Trevor Rizzo, a night to forget, for Clemson University will finish P29. And that is going to do it for our results here from Iowa Speedway. What a podium. 3 drivers, 3 different schools, 3 different nationalities on the podium tonight, but it was Matt Morton and Ohio State who have found their way to victory lane for the second time this season after a dramatic inaugural race from Iowa Speedway. But now our drivers will turn their attention to upstate New York, where we head back to Pocono Raceway for the first time since Season 3 for the Future Made by Hand 200 presented by the Pennsylvania College of Technology. That's right, we're heading from 4 turns down to 3 in what is set to be an exciting return to the Poconos. You can catch all the action next Monday night live here on CIL Vision. Pre-race show starts at 8:30 Eastern with flag-to-flag race coverage beginning at 8:50 Eastern. And if you can't wait for more CIL action, good news, our Road Series is ready to put in some thrilling races as Formula C heads to Silverstone for the first time. The old rivalry between Kent State's Jordan Johnson and the reigning champ R. Muhammad Alif has reignited, and this is going to be the start of an electric points battle. The inaugural CIL Formula C British Grand Prix begins at 8:15 Eastern on Wednesday night. And on Thursday, we have our first endurance race of the season in the Collegiate Prototype Challenge as we head to the high banks of Daytona International Speedway. And we can promise that this race will not only have no checkered, but it will have plenty of action. So be sure to tune in to our first 90-minute enduro of the season. More cars, more laps, and more points to give out live on CIL Vision at 8:15 Eastern this Thursday. And I believe that is going to do it for us tonight. So on behalf of myself, co-commentator John, producers Christian and Keith, and from all of us here at the CIL, we'd like to thank you all for tuning in to tonight's Dinner Mints 200 presented by The Familiar Strange. And until next time, stay fast.
Just switch me up. Just switch me up. Just switch me up. Just switch me up. Coughing up my thoughts into an icicle. I look inside and see that I'm just cold. Well, I could ride all day on my bicycle, pretending I was in control. So many different parts to play. It changes over time. Not really sure which one I prefer. I don't wanna know. Just switch it up.
264 drivers entered with a shot at $1,000.
Driver sideways, that is Daniel Holloway at the exit of turn 4. Cars in the wall, it's checkers or records. No caution flags allowed as they wreck towards the back of the pack. Mr. McQueen, Casey Kerwin to the line. He wins the podium 500.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Each night you hear the drum is ringing.